What's up, everybody? We're in the fun part where we just make sure the audio is good. So, what's up, Budda Child?
Levels good. What's up, man?
Y'all can hear
How you
him?
doing?
Everything sounds good on your end, everybody out there? Because I can hear him. I have a different volume than what you hear, though. So, on that note, though, I do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining us over at Bridge the Gap. This is the show where we like to kind of bridge the gaps in knowledge. We want to hear your story and go through it all. The unfortunate part of a lot of people is when you Google them, there's not a lot of information about them. And that's kind of hard to even do the researches and shit, especially sometimes in our local scene. So like to actually know the significance of what you've been through and how much you've seen, the people you've been affiliated with, your accomplishments, even just the history of Montreal that you've witnessed along your journey, given your age and who you were rolling with and all the stuff you must have seen actually transpire along the way. Your knowledge is invaluable to us here. So that's why this is Bridge the Gap. That's what we're trying to do, is bridge those gaps in knowledge. Now, as far as you, I have not, unfortunately, heard much about you before you hit me up to, talk about your new project upon which we agreed this interview would be cool. But everybody was just listening to it before, man. So first of all, it is an incredible new project. I'm blown away by the song about your kid, describing the birth and being
Really?
Indian. Yo, that shit,
I've
like,
attention.
every time I heard it, I felt like chills and shit. Like, it was such an honest and candid story describing something many of us will never go through. And that's a crazy thing. Like, I felt, and your talent
It's
is
kind of unique story, you know.
that,
Yeah.
that's it. And then I feel like just in general, your talent is there. We bumped that 2015 project you did. We were vibing with the scratches and the fucking versatility. And I got to go back a little bit, see what the comparison's like. But in general, all that to say for everyone here, the man is an extremely talented artist. So, we're not talking to somebody that is just, random with it. He's talented. And it's exciting to hear what, that's why we're here to hear what, I got a little tongue tied there. But either way, I had to say welcome to the show. On that note, I want you to tell us a whole lot about yourself. Sorry, go on.
I was saying it's an honor, you know what I mean? I seen the interview you did with my boy Cali, you know what I mean? Baba. I seen a few interviews, you know, and I appreciate what you're doing for the city, you know, putting the city on the map. And yeah, I mean, it's always a case like a lot of people haven't heard from me, you know what I mean? But I'm like an OG. I still look young or whatever, but I've been OG, you know. I've been doing this like maybe 2003, like if you go way back.
Oh, we're going to go
I've been
so
like
far back, man.
hip hop.
So let's start that. Let's go all the way back because, question one takes it back a little bit. So for first question of the show, well, first of all, the new first question is, are you born in Montreal or are you born somewhere else?
Born and raised NDG, you know.
That's what's up. I'm NDG myself. I mean, I
Right.
figured you might be around. Like, I'm in NDG right now. That's what it is. I'm over on that Fielding Street, just kind of keeping it real.
That connection. You went to Laker? Yeah, you had to be from DG or Coach and Luke or something, you know? Eh?
That's what it is. I mean, even if you leave, it's like you end up kind of wanting to come back here because there's not a lot of places like NDG in Montreal. But that's dope. So let's go back to the beginning of your story though. So my questions, as you may know, are kind of convoluted and all over the place. And we're starting with the story for all those that are just watching for the first time. Basically, one day my girlfriend is washing the dishes. And she's playing that Black Eyed Peas song, that I Got a Feeling. And that song's significant because at our age, 10, 12 years ago, we was up in the clubs jumping around in circles to that shit. Like, turn up your cup, mazel. So like club music becomes chore music was the real big takeaway from that, right? So that got me thinking about my growing ups and shit, and my parents, there was the Led Zeppelins from my dad, and my mom's had the discos and, other people's and whatnot. She was really into John Travolta, too. I remember that now. Grease was a fucking staple in my household. Anyway, all that to say is, like, different people influence you when you're young. But why we start when you're young is because basically your musical journey, all the things that happen to you, your adolescence, blah, blah, that's all after you were forced to listen to a bunch of stuff. Not maybe negative force, but you were still forced to listen to a bunch of stuff. You had no real control. Maybe you did in your case, but in general, people don't have control over it when they're 5, That's just what's around them. So why don't you walk us a little bit through what it was, your musical journey was like as a youth, what the sounds were around when people was driving, chores, just, whatever you feel like you remember and want to share with us.
Well, for sure. Well, basically, first, I'm Chinese, so my mom would always play like Chinese opera around the house. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like really high pitch. When I was young, I really hated it though for some reason. It was like, yo, it's not it. You know what I mean? But as I grew up, I appreciate it later on. So basically, my mom, she's also a singer, so that's probably who I get it from. She does the Chinese opera. She, performs and
Okay.
does that. So I was watching her do that. And karaoke. Every Asian household has a karaoke machine. You know what I mean? So stereotypical, Asian household, But my dad was different. He had like the record player, he had all the vinyls and stuff like that. He listened to like more like he had soul, he had like Nat King, Cole, and Elvis Presley. You know what I mean? So he had the other side. I still got to dig through his collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even that,
But
that's
like,
crazy. That's a huge mix right off the jump. So first of all, you're a young one with access to a mic and pop music singing along. So that's instrumentals right off the jump as a youth. Because honestly, I've written songs on karaoke instrumentals. They're fucking dope as a backdrop if you want to grab some rock or whatever. So that's fucking crazy though. I never even considered that whole side of it. Like if people grew up with a karaoke machine. So did y'all use that regularly?
yeah, my mom, anytime she has guests over, she'll sing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't get involved in it, but I'll be in the scene and I'll see it. You know what I mean? And yeah, there's always some Chinese music playing. You know what I mean? And
But then
people like her, she's performing, and yeah.
But then on the other hand, having the other side of the culture. So that's right off the jump almost like a crazy advantage because you're getting like two musical cultures in a pre YouTube era right off the jump being fed to you in a sense. That's fucking cool, dude. So vinyls
Yeah,
was it around your house mostly? Also, what was a karaoke
really, like
machine like back then?
that's the collection, And too bad I didn't really take my time to go through it, but I just remember like seeing, a lot
Hmm.
of records. Yeah.
No, fair enough. That's cool though. So like, I just gotta ask though, is the karaoke machine you grew up with like the box ones? Then shit, is that what it was like back then, or is it like a different machine?
No, that's like the new school one. Like my daughter has that, the whole boom box thing with the disco lights. Me, it was more like it looked like a VCR type thing, like and then you put like a big disc or something like that. You know what I mean? If anything, it was like a laser disc, like some old school thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. No, I get what you mean,
Yeah,
actually. That's cool. I just like to think about the
yeah,
tech, right? Because we look at karaoke and we picture that box now, but that's not always what it was. So even karaoke is a
no,
huge part of musical culture. What did it used to be like? That's what I'm left to wonder with when I hear that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you sharing it and telling us a little bit more about yourself. But let's go on, I guess, to the next part. Well, when did you first start to identify with music yourself? Right? Like, when did you have that moment where it went from being like, this is music to, yo, that song is fire. I need to hear more. Like, what do you remember that first moment? How old you were? What was going on in your life when that happened?
actually, I do. I do. Uh, I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, on the older side, you know what I mean? So, like, the first thing that really attracted me was Chris Cross. You know what I mean?
Was who? Sorry?
Chris Cross.
Chris Cross. Okay.
Like, yeah. I remember like going, like specifically going to the record store, and I even came out that, you know what I mean, with the tape, and the alarm went off and everything. They thought I was stealing. Well, I was trying to convince my mom to buy that shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, I put the pressure on her, and she bought that. It was like the first tape that I really got. You know what I mean?
So,
I could identify with them because they were kids too. You know what I mean? So it was like, well, child rapper. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, that I think that planted the seed. But I didn't really start rapping like when I was a kid. It was more in high school. When I hit Wager and stuff like that.
yo, but straight up, was it because you saw the music video or because you saw the vinyl?
No, it was a tape. It was a cassette tape. You know what I mean?
So you saw the cassette tape and you saw that there were kids on it. So you like were gravitated to that and you copped it?
No, I did not hit the video. I heard, you know what I mean? The video, so I knew about them. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So
So I'm like, yo, I need a cop this. Uh,
And I only asked that because we got a comment from Golden Jenny who said MTV, and I'm like, yo, that is the power of MTV, right? Like, you see this music video, and now you're like,
yeah,
yo, I identify with that shit. Because think about what Eminem and White Boys went through a little bit time later, right? I mean, for me at 12, when I saw
yeah,
Eminem on the music video, I was like, oh, or Swollen Members too was another one for me when I saw fucking Mad Child for the
yeah,
first time. So, like, I can see, like,
uh,
how that would be crazy, especially if you're a kid and you're like, wait, kids can rap?
yeah, like, for real. That was big for me back then. Yeah.
That's cool. And so at what point then you said you get to Wager and you really start to get into music a little bit more fervently? But so it's always been hip hop though? Like in the beginning for you, you started with hip hop, or was there something else that you were into before hip hop?
Honestly, it's always been hip hop, to tell you the truth.
Oh,
You
fair
know,
enough.
and yeah, when I went to high school, it was more like I got into like Wu Tang. You know, when Wu Tang Forever dropped, even like Puff Daddy and you know what I mean, Mace. You know what I mean, like 97, 98.
Mm.
It was just like right when I heard it, like I got into it. I'm like, yo, I could do this. You know what I mean? For some reason, I'm like, yo. So I like started writing down the lyrics, memorizing shit. Then started changing it around and then making my own. You know. Then I'm like, you know what, yo, I could do this.
Hold
And I
up,
just
hold up.
started doing it, and then
So you would actually write out the lyrics, which is crazy because by the time I was
yeah,
at the same high school, there was computers and we was printing the lyrics. So just in a little bit of difference, that much
yeah.
changed, eh? But you would then rearrange them and make them your own a little bit. Do you remember any examples of doing that you could like spit a little example of what you did?
Oh man, it's probably terrible. I can't even remember back then. You know
Nah,
what I
no
mean?
worries about it.
But the shit I do, I was more on like some, I don't know. It wasn't as like conscious and lyrical as I am now. You know what I mean? It was more on some, I don't know, some gangster shit or whatever the fuck I was listening back then. You know what I mean? But not as I like progressed, I started writing like more introspectively, like about my life and like keeping it real.
Yeah,
Like that
we're
song
gonna be
about
talking
tonight again.
about your
People
whole
know that.
life. Don't worry. We know you an introspective guy that drops amazing shit, right? That's what we know. But we still talk. We in high school now.
Mm.
High school is a time of tomfoolery where people.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's better that
So
you.
I was trying to learn like mathematics and shit like that, you know, and write it all down, Master Killer's verse and shit like that, you know. And right after that was Bone Thugs. That's what really changed everything. Like Bone Thugs and Harmony, like fuck man, when I heard the flows, the singing, the harmony, and everything like that. My favorite rapper to this day is Crazy Bone. You know what I mean? So when I heard that, I was like, holy shit! I used to even like rap fast back then when I first started. You know what I mean? I had to like slow it down and shit so people could like pay attention. You know, like some Jay Z shit. You know what I mean?
I empathize so fucking heavy with what you just said. Personally, I used to rap a lot faster, and I had to slow it down because if you're trying to be heard, speed isn't there. But also, I love Crazy Bone. I love the fucking Bone Thugs. So I
No fucking
completely.
way.
Well, man, we did we do album reviews and shit, and we actually did all of Thug Mentality 1999. It took 4 parts, but we did all
That's
of
like
it.
one of my favorite albums. Like, that's like the craziest double album ever. Like, yo, I put that against like All Eyes on Me, anything, because he got like every feature from everybody in the rap game. You know what I mean? Plus, like, not even just rapping, but like singing wise, I think he could kill it. Like, he should drop like an R&B album. He's like on another level with it. You know what I mean?
Yo, he's fucking great. I'm not even gonna lie. I will admit that listening to it in album reviewer mode, it's hard because it ended up being by the second disc. A lot of it was more the songs with features popped, and his solo songs felt a little redundant on the second. I'm being real with y'all on the second disc, but that first disc slaps it out the fucking park. Like that, like we hit it heavy, whatever. Like right off the jump, that fucking comes in so strong as an album. It's so good. But that came out when you were in high
I
school,
know.
and you were old enough to know what the fuck that meant. That's fucking cool. I'm a little.
Trust me. Do you remember like Music World? Do you have Music World at like Cavendish Mall? Yo, I
Yeah,
like
I used to go
recess or
there.
lunch. I was like, all the way there just to cop that. You know what I mean? Hop fences, all this shit. Just go with the Music World and cop that. It was the tape back then. You know what I mean? We didn't even have CDs really. I started with the tapes, then I graduated to
Trust.
upgrade everything to the CDs. You know what I mean?
I came in the
Yeah.
transitionary period, so I used to go to the same Music World with the same movie theater right over there. And then, the bookstore was also right up in there too, if you happen to go down that alley. But yeah, man, you'd go there, you'd be able to get there and back in lunch, fucking pop in, see what's up. Because we went to the same high school, but at different times in life. So I started the year after he graduated. So that's like a fucking crazy like thing,
Yeah.
eh? Like, so as he's describing this, I can picture like exactly what he's fucking doing. But yeah, that's dope, man.
Because the lunch is like limited. You only have a certain amount of time, so we had to
Hour.
like cut through fucking houses and back different fences. Crazy shit. I don't know why I was like that into music that I would like hop fences just to make it there, cop some shit, and come back. You know what I mean?
Yo,
That's me right now, but
it's-
like that's how back then.
you could look at it like now that you had a good sense of time management, because if you really think about it, you could have burned an hour at lunch, or instead you went and did something that like, and now that as an adult I'm evaluating it, I'm like, that's some good time management, sir. I appreciated that. Yeah, that's some cool shit. So, but that's still crazy because, And here's the thing about Wager is you were not you were exposed to hip hop. It wasn't an if, it was you were exposed to hip hop. It didn't matter what you wanted to listen to, it was going down. It is a huge reason that people who go to Wager end up kind of loving hip hop at the end of it, you know?
There's so many artists that came out of Wager. It's incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like Preach. You know what I mean?
Yo, big facts.
And Meta, go back to high school. You know, Stack Doe, Stack Robinson, wherever he goes around by now. Yo, there's so many rappers. Frost, everybody comes from Wager. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know those last two came from Wager, but that's really good to know. I don't know everybody who came from Wager, but I know even like I'm pretty sure Montreal Mello's from Wager. Like there's a few of us that are like on the younger end of it that are actually like from Wager. I'm pretty sure he's there. I know a couple others are like Wager produced some fucking people involved in it. Anyway, I know I was in the last grad class, so when I graduated, it ended, and I will forever be one of the last Wager graduates. Which is,
thank God you got to like graduate. You know what I mean?
I got to graduate in 2005, and then there was no Wager in 2006. So it was like literally just done. It's sad. And then I really regret not going to that show they made that I was there, that like Wager thing. I didn't go, and it's one of those things I really regret. I don't know. It was like this.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I should have done that. But either way, that was neither then or now. But was it?
I did variety shows and all that when I was.
Sorry, when did you do them?
No, I'm saying I did the variety shows and talent shows when I was actually there, you know. But I should have came back and watched that. You know what I mean? I regret.
Yeah, but let's talk about when you were at Wager. I think you said that's when you started to really get into it yourself. So let's talk about how that happened.
Well, even art class, you had Miss Heck?
Sorry?
You have Miss Heck as an art teacher? No. But yeah,
I
remember.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Hecht?
Yeah, Miss Hecht.
Oh, yeah, Miss Hecht. Yes. I know Miss Hecht. Yes.
She's a little.
Yes. It took
a but you know, she is who she is. But yeah, I remember that class, drawing or whatever we were doing in art class, and I remember Negus. He's a good basketball player, but he would always play big pun. Still not a player on this ghetto ass boombox. Like this shit was like broken down, like could barely play. It couldn't. The rewind button was broken. He would play that shit, take it out, rewind that shit with a pencil. You know what I mean? The tape, rewind that shit with a pencil, press end. You know what I mean? Bumping that back to back to back. So it was like, I remember that came out, and DMX came out almost around the same time. I forced my boy Greg Keto, who's my partner in rhyme later on, to buy pun and shit, and he would like record that shit. You know, we'll dub that shit, and then you know what I mean? Like I'll have DMX and he'll dub pun for me and all that. But yeah, like big pun. After I heard that shit, I was like, holy shit! It blew my mind. Like I couldn't believe someone could be like that lyrical, and you know what I mean? And with the flow at the same time, and be that big. You know?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Because I think he was trying to be Rakim, but faster. Was like his goal with his.
Kind of thing, you know?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I
might. Could you rap?
That's what it was. Sorry, I got it wrong. I know, I fucked up. It's Cool G Rap, but faster. I completely messed it up. You're absolutely correct. And so he brought that element, and then he brought it quick. And I mean, even his lyrical like exercises, like down in the middle, or whatever. Like fuck those shits. Like it's like so fucking like they're good tongue twisters to like practice your fucking game with to this day. He's actually like a treasure trove.
I don't know, unlimited times. Like I couldn't believe someone would come up with like a crazy riddle, like a rhyme inside of a rhyme, like that. Like it blew my mind to this day. Like I can't even think of some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely do. So you were hearing that, and it got you all inspired, or?
Yeah, like that. Like before that, I was like didn't really concentrate on the lyrics like too much. You know what I mean? But after that, it was like, oh shit. I got like super technical after that. Like I had to rhyme every single word in a bar type of thing, like every multi-syllable, you know what I mean? But make it make sense, you know what I mean? Like not just rhyming pure bullshit or whatever, you know?
Right.
But actually apply to my life. It's like a puzzle, you know what I mean? Like, and that's when I like really like, yo, this is like a game, like a sport or some shit like that. But like in the beginning, I just kept it to myself, you know what I mean? And then I remember I seen like a text interview with you, and you used to have like battling shit on K103. Street Sounds, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
K13.7. And my boy, like we were in our group, Verbal Hustlers, you know what I mean? My boy Mark Crux and shit, Cruz. and he went to battle and he got destroyed by some guy. You know what I mean? Some guy busted some double time fucking dash effects to the detective, some shit like that. You know what I mean? And after he got destroyed, I was like, yo, fuck, I gotta avenge him. You know what I mean? I gotta do this. So I called him and I had to destroy them. I destroyed him, you know. And I went and I didn't even know it was good yet, you know. But I kept like going like 4 nights in a row. I kept winning. And then everybody at school was like, yo, this is like fucking incredible. You know, this is amazing and shit. And that's what like planted to see like, oh fuck, I could do this. You know, I just started this. Man, I'm winning already. You know. And I'm like, oh fuck, like maybe I could do it, you know?
Yeah, and to be fair, like when he says he's winning, he's going against like anybody in the city calling in. Anybody, I believe, could have come
on
in.
The phone. Yeah.
So like that's actually an incredible feat. That's fucking cool, dude. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem.
So,
I started off like kind of with the battle rap, you know, but then it progressed to like really songs and structure and you know, album mode and all that, you know.
So how long was your battle rap phase?
It was really short. It was just that K103 thing. You know, once I lost, I was like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean?
I absolutely get it.
Because it's like, you know, people are calling in gold for him. It wasn't like based on skill type shit. You know what I mean? Like, it was obvious I destroyed him. You know what I mean? But like, he probably got like 10 of his boys to vote, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's a fucking heavy lesson to learn when you're young, though, right? Like, I did an Instagram contest this year just to, like, compare, and it required getting some votes. And I love everybody because I got 160 motherfuckers to vote for me, and I was blown away that many people showed up. But he got 180.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
He got 180. And then I saw...
What?
Yeah. So I
no
saw...
fucking way.
Yeah, yo, he's young. I'm not going to beat a 21-year-old on Instagram. It's just our 20-year-old. He's fucking fire. He's also really good. Like, it wasn't like I lost and his shit was, like, whack. It was like, it was 50-50. I had trouble picking which one of the two I liked more, so it was fine by me. But, like, end of the day, his shit progresses. He gets to the finals because I'm rooting for him now. If this motherfucker beat me, he's got to win. It's like a tournament.
My guy, too. Yeah, beat me to the finals, you know? So it was like, I didn't feel too bad about it. Same thing.
But at the end of the day, the guy who beat him won because he had like a fucking Persian celebrity fucking cousin guy, and they got like 700 votes because his celebrity cousin fucking got enough people to. And so the fact is, though, everyone can get mad that this is bullshit, but it's a lesson. This is going to happen in this type of an environment. And learning that young made you pivot because maybe you don't want to play that game. And that's fucking a huge lesson, right? Because some people can play that game. Personally, I hate that game.
No, fuck that, man. It's beyond my control, you know? But right after that, like I did like a hip-hop competition where it's just based on skills and shit like that. They had judges and shit like that, you know what I mean? It was called like Hip-Hop Forever, you know? It was like before like end of the week shit, like before bases, all that, you know? It was like back then, 2003.
All right, tell us about it.
You know? And the first time I entered it was like an audition, you know. Once you get past the audition, you go to semifinals, finals, all this shit. So I ended up like fucking winning that shit, man. You know what I mean? Like first time right off the bat, I'm like, oh fuck. First with the radio shit, right off the bat, then this, I'm like, oh fuck.
So what was
maybe I could do this, you know what I mean?
I ended
up winning.
What was that competition like? Like how did you what was it like? Like format wise?
It was just me by myself. I wasn't in a group or nothing. No hype man, just me by myself on stage and shit like that. You know what I mean? And it was like a lot of people tried to get into that shit, like Shogun. I remember back then, even like Narcy, Low Pesci, we all tried it. You know what I mean? But I don't know how I ended up winning that shit. I won an award for like best lyrics, like best writer composer.
Was it like tracks, or was it like tracks, or was it like off the domes? Was it like songs you were doing, or was it like off the domes?
No, I was performing songs and shit like that, you know?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I had like 2 songs. But the way I did it was like, I would spit a cappella, no music at all. Just live, like, you know what I mean? The whole crowd just listened to me, and I would just rip it, you know what I mean? Like, and spit like the most insane bars they ever heard, you know what I mean? And then like, then they would know like, oh shit, this kid's serious. I was a kid back then. I was like 17, 18, you know what I mean? I don't know why I had like the confidence to do that back then, you know what I mean? But like, and I guess, yeah, like, they're blown away or whatever. And yeah, ended up taking it.
That's still pretty incredible, man. Because again, you're like young and you've already done 2 incredible things. Going for rounds in a row at like a teenager on the radio, and then winning a contest where like you just dropped some big names. Like those weren't little names he just said. Those are some big people he brought up. He's yo, I just knocked Lil Pesci out. Like that's not a small claim to make, you know? So like, and I'm not, no disrespect. Lil Pesci's a wonderful artist, and if you don't know him, you should look him up. He's a very talented Montreal MC.
Big
Um
battle rapper.
and so like Shogun too. And but the fact is,
Yeah, oh, shit, yeah. He's
so
featured in my last album. That was amazing, man. He's very underrated, you know. I didn't know a lot of people know him like that, you know. So
I don't know him like that. I started doing this though. So I've started listening to people, and I'm starting to be able to piece together who are like very significant people and who are like interesting. I'm pretty sure I had heard Shogun in the past, but like the way people talk about him, you know, he's a player. Lil Pesci, I did know because I came into the game in 2012 and he was still very active at that point. So I know him from that era, and then it kind of all changed a couple of years later. But that's cool though. The fact that you were able to. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Shogun went to Wager too, by the way.
Did he? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I Yo Wager, eh? Man, we should do like a Wager thing one day. But so that's crazy. So you're like 17, 18. Are you still in high school when you do this contest?
I think I just went to the college. I just went to Dawson, I think. Yeah.
All right. So I
I was
guess
17, I think.
tell us a bit about this phase, because now you're like probably peaking. You believed, not like in your career, but like in yourself. You're like, wow, I can do this. I can take over the world. And then tell us about getting into it all and what life is like while you're at Dawson.
I mean, Dawson, they also had some other shit too, like Street Here, whatever. And I would go and perform or whatever. But I wasn't even much of a battle rapper, you know. I had to, but you know what I mean. I was like so like boosted up,
Street Hits a battle
in my
rap
own
thing?
head. Yeah, and it went to battle, you know what I mean. And I got destroyed or whatever. That like kind of like, you know what I mean, put me back down to earth type shit, you know what I mean. And ever since then, I'm like, yo, I ain't fucking with the battle shit no more, because you know, no matter what you did before that, you could get crushed or something like that, and it's like it doesn't even matter, you know what I mean. Like you're just end, you're like, what happened with cannabis type shit, you know what I mean? Like, so it's
Yes.
like you gotta come prepared. I wasn't prepared. They just called my name out of nowhere because they knew I could rap, but I was just chilling, you know what I mean? But after that, I took it easy for a minute, you know what I mean? Worked on my raps and shit. Like it took me a while to, like you, when I started, like when I officially dropped my first album, it was 2012. You know what I mean?
I didn't even drop my first album then. I started in 2012 and dropped my first albums in 2017.
Okay,
So-
yeah,
so
5
same
years. That's
kinda
not
thing.
bad though. That's not bad. Yeah, it's like I probably did like 3 albums before I dropped my first album. I just scrapped everything, you know what I mean? And kept like improving, evolving as an artist type shit, you know? Maybe I'm kind of glad I didn't drop an album back then. It probably would have been like, you know?
I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where like there's good reasons to not do it and there's bad reasons, you know? Like I feel like not dropping my project because I had it done in 2015 and I waited because I didn't know what I was going to do next. But then when I released it, nothing happened anyway. So maybe I should have just dropped it back then and not did something but had it out, you know? Like, so I started like, so it's easy to like retrospectively wonder, but like, I don't know. That's kind of why I like doing this now, where we can hear what everybody's stories is like and start to see like in general what worked for people and not. But in your case, you're still making music today and you just dropped a fire album. So whatever you did works. So I'm down to hear how the fuck you got all the way that far in life and you're still active, right? Because you did a lot since 2015 according to your Spotify. So that's fucking
Yeah, I used to
fire.
drop an album like every year, you know what I mean? Like I only took a break like 2018 and just this year, this past year, 2020. I could have dropped it in 2020, but I didn't really want to, you know? I think a bad year had bad stigma attached to it. So I was like, let me wait. Fresh year, top of the year, I'm going to drop this, you know? I was like holding it. It was like killing me inside.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Fair enough. So I guess you're in your Dawson, your early 20, you're hitting 20-ish, that era of life. You had your humbling battle rap experience, and now you're like kind of getting better, sharpening your pen game. What else is happening in your world?
Yeah. So like to go back, like after all those battles and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like in high school, like I joined a group with like Masterson and shit like that. I mean Preach, you know what I mean? And it was like called Capone Cartel. And then I also had another group within that group, like me and my boy Keto, It was Verbal Hustlers, and later we changed the name to Stratagem. So my first project that I dropped was under that group name Stratagems in 2012 with my boy Tito. Like a 7-track EP. Just to test the waters right before I dropped my solo. You know what I mean? And it did pretty good. You know what I mean? It's like a classic.
But like even before then, because that's still 2012, and I'm pretty sure you were in Dawson more like early 2000s and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we got there's a whole bunch in between. So we'll get to 2012, I promise. It's gonna just come naturally in a progression of time. But yo, you linked up with Preaching them when at Wager?
Wager days. Yeah.
And
we had a group, Holy Cartel.
And how long did that last for? What was going on? What did you guys do with that?
We just like put together all the dope rappers that rapped in high school. Because before when I started rapping, I didn't know anybody else that rapped. I just did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I told my boy, yo, I rap. Yo, you start rapping too, and we form a group. But then later on, I was like, oh fuck, there's all these other rappers like, Preach, and then later it was like Odessa. She's still doing her thing, singing and shit like that, and Jason John, all these guys. We just formed like a super group. Before all the super groups really formed. Like on some Wu-Tang shit kind of thing.
Yo, but that's really interesting still. So this is why I like to like unpack these things, because check it, like first of all, there's a power of networking community in this game that I feel like a lot of people my age are really bad at, and we're all learning how to do it now. So like there's a huge power to the group element, right? And like I'm certain y'all like ended up doing things, like were you doing shows together, or I don't know what you guys were doing together, but you create your group, right? And then how
comic shows, like any comic show that was in Wager, we did a rap or something like that. I remember we did like a rap like whoa, Black Rob and all that shit.
That's fair. And then but what happens like after Sejep? What are you doing at those point in your life?
That's when I really like started going to like a real studio. You know what I mean? Like I went to what's it called, Urban Lab, DNA Studios. I jumped to a lot of studios, and but I don't know. I kept like kind of hoarding music, kind of thing, and not putting it out for some reason. I thinking back in hindsight, I should have just put it all out and type of thing. You know what I mean? But I was just like, is this good enough? Like doubting myself, kind of thing, So I was like, you know what, this is enough. Like I gotta put something out. You know what I mean? Like I felt like a sense of urgency or something like that.
So like basically,
like, I can't be this much years in a game without.
So like, were you performing at this time? Were you still participating in that kind of stuff, or were you just kind of like recording and making stuff?
Sure. I always did shows, I always did shows in the meantime and stuff like that. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about what it's like to be like performing, because the 2000s was like a heyday, right? It's almost like a golden era of sorts compared to what came after. No offense to it. So like, tell us a bit about like some significant stuff that happened there. Like pretend like like the history doesn't get documented very well, and you got to live through it all. So what can you share from us from this time that is fucking just dope? Like your stories, anything you can think of.
Like I remember just performing at like Metropolis, Club Soda, Alizé, like all these venues and stuff back then, man. And like it was like such a small group of like, it was like everybody was a rapper back then. You know what I mean? It was like more like a select few. Like these days, like everybody and their mother's a rapper or whatever.
Right, right.
Back then, it was like you had to have like some kind of skills to be a rapper. You know what I mean? And so that's how I met everybody. Like I'm kind of like antisocial, but for some reason I just know everybody, because I've been around so long or whatever, And yeah, from there we just build and stuff, and like I would do features with people that I like respect, like lyrically, even if they're not like known that much, you know what I mean? Like Shogun, he's not like that much known, although he should be. But I would do songs with him just based on like skills and stuff, Like my first album, I did a song with Lost One,
Right.
Now, like I don't know, but like off the skills, I was like, yo. And during that time, also, it's funny because no offense, you remind me a lot like him, like my boy Logic. You know what I mean? Urban Logic's one like.
Yo, I love that comment. I don't know how he'll feel about that comment, but I take that as a high compliment.
Or no?
Sorry?
Has anybody else told you that?
No, I don't think so. But I've sat there and listened to Logic's talk about shit for 90 minutes straight, so I take it like a compliment.
He has the gift of gab too. You guys speak in like same mannerism, everything, like long hair, everything. You know what I mean? But during this time, I don't know if you remember, like he had like a loft. You know what I mean? And a loft like downtown kind of. You know what I mean? And that was like the hub for like every rapper to come through. You know, he had this booth set up, and that's where like I met like a lot of rappers like I Blast, Lost One, fuck, Smart King, the list goes on, you know, like so that's where I really sharpened my skills. Like every rapper like went there and like rap, freestyle. He used to put out like tapes, mixtapes and stuff like that, you know, as the Royal Peasants, you know. I don't know if you remember those mixtapes.
I know what they are,
Yeah.
because again, I've gone through this. I've had Logics be like, "Once upon a time, I was in a group called the Royal Peasants," and then you know how it gets derailed really fast with him, right? Like it'll be like you'll start there, and now you're like talking about ancient history and shit really quick. So,
He's a very knowledgeable guy, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, and that impression was a little bit dead on, like honestly.
but that's no, it's he's a fun guy. I like Logics was part of the reason why I care so much about the history right now, because he was like, you don't even know. I swear, I got like 10 hours of a Montreal break because he tried to show me a track that was full of Montreal bars, and I didn't know any of them. So he started
Okay.
explaining all of them, and it took a while. I mean, multiple
Wow.
sessions of going. He kept going
So you
back.
did like interview with Logic already? You did
No,
one
no,
with
no.
Logic?
I met Logics along the way of my journey of life because he wanted me the.
Okay.
So basically, the California Ghost King and them wanted me to like the Sovereign Music Movement. They wanted me to review some of their work, so we did. So like I reviewed a bunch of their stuff. So we was just having chit chats and just kind of off camera and whatnot. I'd love to interview Logics, but it hasn't happened. Just it's on the list one day maybe,
No,
if
I'm
it
sure.
works.
I'm sure it's gonna happen. I promise you
Yeah,
that.
I'm not worried about it. Like I've talked to
Yeah.
Logics on a whatever, but like he's up to his own. They got a lot going on. Is more what it is. Like those guys have a very
Okay.
organized unit of stuff that they're working on behind the scenes, and yeah, when they're ready to come talk, they'll come talk. That's how I look at it. That's how a lot of
Yeah.
because I learned something about people doing this little interview thing. Um, Not everyone wants to do an interview all the time. People want to do interviews at certain times. So you're like in that interview mode because your album just dropped. So for the last month, you'd be like, I
It's
got
perfect
shit to
timing,
say.
like, perfect timing. Yeah. It's perfect timing, you know.
Other people don't
And the
have.
reason why I found it too because I seen the review we did for Cali, you know, like Merker Music, Merker Miyagi, whatever he goes by now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this guy kept it, you know. He went in depth and like really like listened to it, and you know, like I'm like, no, I always wanted like a deep review on my album. That's why I hollered, you know, because like I told you, I grew up on the source, you know, with the 5 mics and all that, you know what I mean. So, but you know what, like this is good too, you know what I mean. Like I'm usually like kind of antisocial, like I said, you know,
Yo,
but
dude,
like
I'm terrible with
I
people,
gotta get
man.
my feet up there.
I'm terrible with people. Every time my girlfriend's like, "You need to cut people off differently. You're not very good at it," and I'm like, "Thanks, baby. I'm learning how to be an interviewer. We just started doing this, you know." It's like it's all like a learning experience in life. I'm not like the best at it, but you're wonderful, man. Your story's fucking great. Like I learned a lot from you already. If we think about it, man, you're really big on that. I'm in places with lots of people, and by being around lots of people who have skill, I am able to up my
Mhm.
game and grow. Those are some knowledge nuggets for real. And then if you think about it, the people don't maybe know how big I Blast and them are. But like when I started rapping, I Blast got to a point where one of his music videos circulated my call center organically, as in it wasn't me that brought it in. Just a girl heard one of the songs and it started circulating the call center. Like that's like the kind of real life shit where like people pretend like it goes down kind of like that. That's how the Montreal scene was when you were with these guys holding your own next to them. I didn't even realize Logic's had that studio per se. He might have even told me. He's probably gonna, if he ever sees this, I told him that on this. That's what it is. Sometimes you forget, but that's
Oh,
crazy too. No, this is crazy too because in
that
the
same
same.
loft,
Sorry, go on.
that same loft, his next door neighbor was Monkey. You know what I mean? You know the graffiti artist, French
Yes,
rapper, Monkey.
I literally met him
He was
through
right
End of
next
the
door.
Week.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, yeah, exactly,
Wow,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
you live next
That
to
was
Monkey?
his neighbor, like right next door. and he would have the most incredible paintings, and he'll be freestyling off the dome. You know what I mean? Like so much good talent around, like just right next door too. You know?
That is crazy. So you're like, yo, just think about like again from that community angle, what inspired you to care about your pen game? Like people like may not notice, but I've watched Monkey rap off the dome for like 10 minutes straight and not fuck up a bar. Like he's impeccably good,
And you
right?
know who also can do that? Logic, too,
Big
on the English
facts.
side, like it's like one of the best freestyles I've ever heard.
Yo, Logics can absolutely
I
do
wish
that.
I. Yeah,
But the
yeah,
fact that you
there
were
you go.
in, but these guys cultivated an environment that brought cats like you together, right? Because, yo, here's what ends up happening. This group of people ends up kind of dominating the city, right? All these collectives that were affiliated together do a whole lot to. Every show you went to was this. And because they kept performing, the same group of peoples, intermingled. It was a relatively large network of people, but they were always drilled in, focused on the same people. The local community, as in the fans, were able to latch on, and like people would actually show up because they could become fans of the music and get. And that's what I take away from it when I hear y'all. It's like sometimes I think we got like a little too polygamous with how open we all got, and like cliques got a little too open. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but like, yo, y'all were like, we had this group of people. Yeah, everybody came through, but we were always there. And it was the ones that we felt could like, keep up that stayed. And it creates a culture that people can latch onto.
Mhm.
And I love that you're sharing this because we could all learn from all of what you just shared. Well, I took all of that away from what you just said.
Yeah. Really. And going back to like the mixtapes that he used to drop, I remember he did a one song, "Touch It" remix or whatever. You know, remember that Busta Rhymes song, "Touch
Mm,
It,"
yeah.
or he go like rap kind of like laid back, and then it was speed up, and then he'll go super hype. So he put like I don't know, like 20 MCs or something, every Montreal rapper on that. You know what I mean? And that just reminded me of what you were saying, how he went through every bar or something of Montreal rappers, but he actually put like together like a song with every Montreal rapper, Touch It remix. You know what I mean? If you go back, it's there. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a few
I just
songs
want to
like
drop.
that. Like I keep learning about tracks that have these
Oh yeah,
collectives, like the Montreal Expo hat remix or whatever. I don't fully know what it's
yeah.
called. That would be like another one that would be like a whole
Mhm,
lot of Montreal talent working together on the same track. So it's like that kind of community
mhm.
cohesiveness really had a huge impact in making it work, is what I'm understanding from you.
Yeah, yeah. I regret not being on that too, though. The Expos remix, man. That shit was hard, though. You know what I mean?
I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it. I know what it is because I was talking to Rico Blocks and he told me about it, or it was him or somebody else. Um, but yeah, I couldn't find it after. I'm like, yo, I can't. I found the original, but I couldn't find the remix version that had everybody on it. It might be out there. If somebody knows where it is, feel free to
I was,
link
I
me.
was trying to look at. I was trying to look for that too, though. I was trying to show my girl and shit, but I think it's only in like the physical copies. You know, you gotta look for the mixtape for that shit. You know, I
Yo,
don't think anybody uploaded that shit.
mm, that's fair. I guess that's what's crazy is being a part of that era, right? Like we're all so spoiled a little bit these days with the everything instant and the everything now. But yo, it's crazy that you were a part of all of this. What else was yo? How are you? Like, were you like marketing yourself at all, or were you just kind of like riding the wave at that point? Because it sounds like you were there, you were riding that wave, you were with everyone. But like, were you fucking with the internet? How are you like adapting to this world as it evolved throughout that era?
I don't know. I guess it was like MySpace or some shit back then. You know what I mean? Remember MySpace?
Absolutely. I had a
Yeah,
MySpace
yeah.
account when
So
I
I
was
guess
at.
I was just playing out music there.
So you were like always on social
Did
media
okay.
then.
I guess yeah. I guess I started back then. That's like my first time remember. You know, MySpace probably. Yeah, yeah. And then Facebook or whatever. You know, but I wasn't like too heavy on marketing myself, to tell you the truth. Like that's maybe my worst attribute or whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm more like I practice my craft. You know, the lyrics, recording. You know what I mean? Even down to the mixing and mastering, make sure everything just sounds perfect. But then when I put it out, it's like I don't, promote it enough, and not enough people like hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely do, man. I try really hard to make songs, and then I finish it, and then I go on to the next song. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn how to promote stuff better. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I started interviewing people, so I had to like be like, okay, I guess music's going over there for a little bit because this is kind of working. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I also want to know how to market better, so I keep talking to people, and I've learned a few things about how to leverage social media, like how it can be done, and I guess I'm gonna practice them because
Yeah.
marketing is huge. I even see people go as far as you should probably spend half the budget on marketing. And if I go, shit, if I had spent half of what I put into production on marketing, I have no idea where I'd be, but I'd probably have a lot more going on right now if I really, I'm being honest with myself. So I like that you
That's
said
fine.
that.
I'm trying to do now, you know what I mean? Like I see like what I can do by myself. Like I just got like what, 1.2 thousand views in like a week or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually
Now I'm
fucking
like really,
proper.
it's not bad. I couldn't believe it. It just went up like it shot up. Like my numbers kept shrinking and now like it went back up. You know, like the real numbers. You know, I don't know how they do the algorithm, but like the real numbers show up, and I was like, oh fuck, that's not bad. But you know, I want more people to see it. You know.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate what you're saying. And usually that's like the last bit that we end up discussing because that's the now part of your life. But let's run it back to like prior to 2012 because you say your project comes out in 2012, but you are also doing this Royal Peasants mixtape. And so were you doing that like street marketing, selling CDs out the trunk type shit, or were you not involved in that stuff?
That was more like on Logic's end. I just featured, you know what I mean? He probably like, hit me off with a few CDs type thing, you know what I mean? But like that's his group, you know. But I was always around, so I just featured it here and there, you know. I did like maybe 2, 3 tracks or something like that,
Mm,
you know.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
But
So
I was never really into mixtapes, you know. I was like, I figured like I want to drop albums, you know, like mixtapes. I can't like waste bars or some shit. I don't want to hop on people's beats and shit. Like that wasn't never really me, you know what I mean? Like I put like my all into like writing and shit like that. So I'm not gonna like jump on some remix of some other person's beat, and I'm not gonna put my all into it, you know. So I just always focus on albums, which probably maybe hurt me, or I don't know. Maybe I could have been more known if I kept dropping shit. You know what I mean?
it's a hard thing to say because it's the past, but I can say in the present, you look fucking cool on Spotify today.
Thank you so much, man.
No, I mean that.
And yeah, that
Like, I mean, like you put out 5 projects. Like I actually did not do as much in my due diligence as I should have. I was gonna like wing it a little bit, and then I'm like, yo, guys got like projects. Okay, right? Like 'cause sometimes 6 songs, sometimes it's like 3 projects, but no, you have like a consistent setup, and I really think that in the end of the day, you're in a position where it's like people are gonna go, bro, you did all that more so now, and you can actually work this angle to your benefit because looking into you is not disappointing. All right, like that's what I learned is looking into your shit is an exciting
yeah,
experience of, bro, this guy can rap. Wow, that's versatile. That's a lot of subject matters. It's like you're actually kind of cool. And it's not even just that, man. Like there was one bar where it's like something pound, make an ounce out of it, and you're like kind of layering the weed bars into the. So there's these little
yeah,
things. I of all your bars, that's the only one I could remember right now. But there were a few of them where I'm like, yo, he's actually saying some really smart shit. Yo, did you hear what he just said there? Like I don't know. You said you were watching
yeah.
the stream, but I actually was doing that because I'm like, yo, these are like really smart things the man is saying. So like I definitely
Yeah. I
so
said, Pound Life so gave me an ounce of hope. You know what I mean? Like I'm like hustling to like for my dreams. You know what I mean? Like so I could invest back to myself. You know what I mean?
man, I love it. It's I get it.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. But let's
Yeah.
go back to like prior to 2012 when you put your album out, and let's talk about how you transitioned into making that album and all the stuff that went into that.
Yeah, I just had a flashback because like the reason why I took so long, like I kept recording at different studios, you know, and sometimes the studio was shut down, so I have to like change and go to another studio, and I like hop to like 3 different studios, whatever, you know. But also
Mm.
like I wanted to get the right artwork and everything too, you know. So I had to find the right graphic designer. So I ended up going with Lazy Eye, and he did like classic albums, like Only Built for Cuban Links. He worked with Raekwon, all these, you know. So I wanted like the artwork. Like,
Hold
I was like,
up. You
also I'm a
got the artwork done from the guy who did Only Built for Cuban Links?
part two.
Okay,
But
part
yeah, he
2.
did like classic albums. Yeah, his name's like Lazy Eye. Yeah,
Okay,
and he
okay.
did like the first like I don't know 4 of my albums or some shit like that, you know. And yeah, so like I'm a perfectionist, so I wanted the artwork right. I wanted to write logos, you know. When I came, I wanted the clothing line, I, and then drop the album. You know, I had like big ambitions and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yo, talk about the
Like I
clothing
had,
line. Talk about how you
yeah,
got.
like I had like an L logo by Lazy Eye, like the Stratagems logo. You know what I mean? Like it's like my tattoo, but like with the like S and a G, whatever. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I put that on shirts with the Intricate Plot Records, who's like my record label, and with the Budda Child, you know, and you know who I hollered at? I hollered at Preach, you know, because he's like my mentor, you know, like, and he helped me print out like I don't know how much, like 100 or something like that, and yeah, and I mean it was hard like selling them, so I ended up like probably like, just giving out for free with a CD or some shit like that, you know what I mean?
Right. But still, it's a
Yeah,
good way to get your brand out there to have that done. And the fact that you had that level of ambition probably told people, like, even if you take a fiscal loss, right? Because maybe it was a
mm-hmm.
money loss, the brand gain,
Yeah,
the take you serious nature, the like differentiation is big. Like, I think not doing merch was a big blunder. If I really think back, I've had a logo for a minute, and maybe now
oh,
I
yeah.
want to be strategic with it, but I should have just slapped that shit on some shit before I had to be strategic in it, you know? Like now I have to think about it.
Yeah.
But like I could have just
And I think you mentioned that recently too. You're asking around for like who does clothes and shit like that. That's why I thought of that too. You know what I mean?
and you just come off proper, right? Like you just kind of give off this like air of, yo, I take my shit seriously. Like people seem to be attracted to people who are willing to invest in their shit. And so it kind of just
That,
signals that off, you know?
yeah. No, I feel you. Even if I took a loss or whatever, you know, in the end, like they would know the logo. You know, they'll recognize the logo and get my name out there. You know?
And there's a lot of power in that. If we even think back to what Callie was saying, like his logo lasted like fucking 20 years or whatever, and people still recognized it to this day. So, like, yo, there's a lot of power in what you're saying in terms of creating a level of visual. Yo, I had Mannix come through here, and he had recognized my logo, but had no idea what I did. But he's seen the
You
logo
plastered it
before.
everywhere.
Well, like at least on
Okay, yeah.
Facebook, right? Because I share all of my videos, so that logo has been shared for fucking years. So or even on hip hop, like because in certain keywords, you might never click on my shit, but I actually show up in certain results if you're looking for album reviews, right? So he had just
Oh
seen the
yeah,
logo enough times that it was familiar enough to him that he knew it was legit, kind of a thing. You know, like it gave him a good sense or whatever. And I think it's super interesting that we're talking about this because people, yo, I made this new logo. I'm going to fucking actually try to exploit it this time and do it all right, you know, instead of fucking wasting this new logo that I'm trying to launch. So I'm glad we're having this chat because I think a lot of people underestimate the power of merchandising. And while I've loafed on it, I just, sometimes when you get money, you spend too much in your head and then you have to roll it back a little bit so you can actually afford some stuff. But like in general,
absolutely.
I think there's a lot of power in having that kind of shit. You know, there's just a lot of power in it. So I'm glad that you did that. You know, were you also doing videos and
Yeah,
crap to promote it back then?
yeah. Like actually, like when I went to Dawson, I studied like cinema communications. You know, so
Mm.
that's what I actually wanted to do, like videos, like movies and shit like that. In the meantime, in between time, I was like writing a script. You know what I mean? I wanted to shoot like I wrote like a full length script. I wanted to shoot like a movie, then do the soundtrack and all this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I scrapped that along the way. I still have it. You know what I mean? But like I always want to do videos and shit like that. You know?
So that's crazy. So you were like, did you? So did you make the videos yourself, or were you just like heavily invested in the process?
No, when I first started off, I made the videos myself. You know, but it was like limited because I didn't have the right like updated Mac and all this. You know, I didn't have like the right cameras on the right set of equipment. You know, so I didn't do it right. But you know what I mean? Like you could tell I could like edit right, you know, you know.
But you
But like
still,
later on, I'll get other people to do it for me, and then I'll edit it. And like lately, I just let somebody else do it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. But like,
I handle the artist.
what I think is really important though is from your story here is that you had a vision for how you wanted your shit to work out. And maybe there were obstacles along the way, but for every last one of them, you found a path forward. You know, like you didn't just say, fuck it, my computer's not good enough. Nah. You went ahead and you said, fuck it, it's going to look shitty and made it anyway. Not shitty,
I
but
know.
like,
I don't even know why I did that. You know, because most people will hold that. They have the most incredible shit. But I was like, yo, I can't hold this shit. You know what I mean? Like anything can happen. I get locked up. You get hit by a bus, whatever. So I was like, yo, let me put this shit out. You know what I mean?
yeah, man.
So that was like my mentality. Yeah.
But I think that's incredible. When I hear that, I think it was the right choice. I think it was the smartest shit you could have done, you know? Because you pulled it off.
Yeah.
And then, so do you end up dropping your album and it goes well and everything? What happens with that?
Yeah, like around Montreal, we like sold a lot of like hand to hand type shit. You know what I mean? And put it up on Bandcamp and shit like that. And even on that's when I first went on TuneCore and shit like that. And we did pretty well.
You
And
went on
I
TuneCore
dropped, like,
in
EP,
2012?
you know? Yeah,
Yo,
I was
that's,
early on that shit. I think when it first started, I think, or like right around then, I guess.
yo, what did TuneCore
Crazy, right?
distribute you to back then? Like, what did you do with it? Like, where did you go? That's like pre-Spotify and shit.
It was like iTunes and shit like that. I
Okay.
remember it was like a whole bunch of shit, you know, like probably Napster, all this, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Right, because there were other digital stores. Yo, that's fucking crazy, dude. What,
Wait,
was
when
it?
did Spotify come out though?
Spotify's like, what, 2014, 15? Somewhere 16? I
yeah?
start
Oh,
using
wow.
it in 2016. I don't think it was out in
Okay.
2012. It might have been. I don't know. I can probably Google that shit, but I didn't know about it back then. Either way, maybe it did. I just didn't realize TuneCore is that old. TuneCore is like a OG in that game. Oh
Yeah,
shit!
man.
Apparently Spotify
That's
came
what
out in like 2007, and I'm just wrong as fuck.
2007. Holy fuck.
Yeah, shout out Ismail for
Okay.
saying that. So yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, 2008, he corrected it. Either way, that's not the point. The point is I was wrong, and that's just what happened. And thank goodness there's an audience who can correct us in real time. Shout out Ismail Gadamsi, you're fucking awesome. But so that's crazy though that you were on TuneCore back then. Was it hard to get on, or was it the same kind of deal? Like you pay X amount and you're in, or was it like more?
It was the same process, you know. Maybe the payment was different or whatever back then. I think I got like a good deal somehow. But yeah, it was pretty much the same, you know. And I've been on like TuneCore ever since. You know, every album I drop is with them, you know.
Fair enough. I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. I was like, they're very expensive. They're very expensive, and switched to DistroKid personally. But
No way. Okay.
DistroKid doesn't let you quit, right? So like, here's the thing about DistroKid. Ooh, we just got an update. So Spotify was only available in Canada in 2014, but it existed back in the day. Yo, fucking love the chat. Y'all are wonderful people.
You're right, you know. You're half right, I guess.
So I remembered a significant date, but I was wrong about like the history. That's fair. They're not even Canadian, so why would they start here? We're not even the first place to get shit because we're fucking Canada. You know, sometimes I forget we're Canada.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day when
Yeah.
like movies and shit would actually come out in the States before they would come out in Canada, and we had like the back release dates?
No way. I don't remember that, but I remember it was CDs and shit like that. We were
Yeah.
always getting late. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? You don't have the new Bone album, and it's released in the States, and you don't have it in Canada? That shit used to kill me. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
I mean, it happens small scale, but Canada's in the cool kid club, so we get all the new shit when it drops because it is what it is. Nah, but that's crazy still is that you were on TuneCore back then. So you put it out, and how'd you push it? So you did the hand-to-hand sales, you were saying, actually. And then were you doing a lot of shows and whatnot still?
And you know what? Like, did like a release. What do you call it? Like album release party or whatever at Underworld. It was Underworld at the time.
Oh, shit.
I don't know what it is now or whatever.
It closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not what the name of it now, but yeah, and we pushed it like that, you know, putting out flyers and shit like that, and yeah, just on the streets hustling, like, you know what I mean, like independently, like just handing out flyers and shit like that, and then we did like a album release party there at Underworld. That's how we pushed it, you know, and it was like a slash video premiere of like Stumbling Blocks, you know, so I premiered a video at my album release party.
So you pulled out like a projector.
And you know what's funny though?
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I had to shit like that, but yeah, Rico Blocks, he opened for me. I remember you mentioned him and shit like that. So yeah, we're family. He opened for me back then in 2012. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fire. That's cool, man. And then you premiered the video. Yo, people used to do that, eh? I used to see those events, and I don't see them no more. That's probably like a really smart idea. Like, why did we stop? I guess maybe because of the internet. But yo, even still, like, I would maybe go to an event to watch
Yeah,
it like the day before, like a Kanye West album listening party. You know how he did it like the day before and then he put it out to the world? Like, it's kind of like that, right? Like, if you
right.
want the exclusive release, you got to come to this fucking show and watch it, and then the rest of the world gets it. I don't
Yeah,
know. That's a cool idea, man. I'm glad you shared that.
yeah, it's true. They don't do that no more. It just dawned on me. That's back then, but yeah.
So yeah, what happens after that then? Are you do you remain active with it? And
Yeah, for sure. I was like, after that, I seen like like how I tested the waters with like the group album. You know what I mean? And I already had like my solo album recorded at the same time. I was recording my solo at the same time I was recording the group album.
mm,
And I waited like 3 more years to drop. I dropped it in 2015, but I had it ready in 2012. I don't know how I had that patience back then. It was killing me. But the reason why too is because also like a friend I went to Wager. His name is Kyle. He's like one of the craziest like photographers, and he did my album artwork. You know what I mean? We shot it at like the sugar mill factory. I think it closed down or he broke it down or whatever. It was
right.
like near the TA wall, and he did the craziest artwork for me. It's the one in a billion artwork. But I couldn't get a hold of him. His father died, passed away or whatever, and I like so for a year I couldn't get the artwork for so that held it up, and that's why it took so long to drop that. But I guess it was, in hindsight, it was right. It was the right year, 2015. I dropped that on Chinese New Year, and I did a video in Chinatown, and I dropped that the video on Chinese New Year. The same day.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I guess everything worked out for that. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's cool that you
And
give
like
that.
that's like probably the
No, sorry. What were we gonna say? It's probably the most what?
most press I got is like from my first album. Like Hip Hop Canada like wrote an article for me. You know what I mean? And that really pushed my video. And I did like 4,000 something views and shit like that. Like my most viewed video was like my first video.
Yo, that's nifty. You're not the first person to bring up Hip Hop Canada writing about them, and they were approachable by you would have to have reached out to them, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and sent them your shit, or did they find you?
No, that's what I did. I just like blindly sent the email. It was like Sarah. She's the one that she fucked with my shit like heavy. And she wrote this whole article the next day. Like I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh fuck. I felt like yo, I made it or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like oh fuck. And she appreciated the bars. It's like she understood everything. I had the big pun crew neck and shit like that. And she really fucked with it. And I was like, oh fuck,
But
not bad.
it's crazy though, because yeah, the fact is like it's interesting how in the blogging era there was a lot of like promoting of people done, and then nowadays it's almost like reactions are here, and I don't know that they have. I wonder if they have the same impact. Like there's not a lot of reactions focused on Montreal artists, and what if maybe 30 reaction channels just appeared focusing on Montreal? Like I wonder if that would like actually have a bigger impact than I would have ever given it credit to in the past, because the more I hear about this blog, like because it's Canada, it's big or whatever. Anyway, I'm just kind of, you're giving me ideas.
Yeah.
But yo, we got a couple of comments. One is from again Vincent Price. He says Underworld is called Newspeak now, and then we don't know if it's coming back.
And that's it. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
shout
Okay,
out.
yeah. It was like the tip of my tongue. I just remember. Shout out to Vincent Price. I used to work in a video store with him.
Yo,
Famous
you guys
video.
were.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. I worked at a video store too. I worked at a Super Club Videotron back in the day. So like not the same one, but
Oh fuck.
still video stores.
Hey,
No, I did the one in
I was being married.
no, in Day Source. When I was 17 or 16, we moved to the West Island. So I worked at the two Le Super Club Videotrons on Boulevard Day Source. And whatever. But still, man, video stores are an experience and a fucking half. And yo, having access to free movies got me a girlfriend. So like it was a very cool experience in my life.
Like my, my accent shit. Yeah, same story, man. It's crazy. And I always wanted a story like that because I always wanted to be a director. And I'm like, yo, that's the whole Quentin Tarantino story. You know what I mean?
Yo, go on about that. Tell people what you mean. This time you should elaborate.
Okay, like basically, if you didn't know, like Quentin Tarantino worked at a video store. That's where he got like his schooling and shit like that. So when I heard that, I always wanted to work at a video store and do the same thing, and that's exactly what I did. I was studying movies. Always been a movie buff, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
same thing with Vince, like he has a crazy collection. But yeah, so yeah, I always wanted to be a director too, you know what I mean? I wanted to direct my movie, star in that shit, edit that shit, everything, you know what I mean? And so that's how he started. And I'm like, oh fuck, I wanted a similar story like that too, like yeah, that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I feel that. Thanks for that. Lindell, I see your question. We're going to get to it. But yo, shout out Famous Videos. I know exactly what the fuck that is, given where I grew up. So I know that place. Man, I went to Uyghur. I grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know all of it. Like, this is just my. I mean,
That's like a hood video store, the real hood video store.
but yo, it's entirely possible. Like, I just went when you were there when I was younger with my dad and shit. And like you served me movies once upon a time. Like that's a realistic thing that could have just happened. You know what I'm saying? But like it maybe didn't. But
That could happen.
anyhow, the other one though is and shout out Lindell Williams. He's one of the patrons, so big love to him. This guy's been ride or die since like 2017. Like for real, this guy has probably watched everything. So big love to Lindell.
Oh, yeah?
And shout out Ismail too. He's been ride or die for a long time too, which is fucking cool. So shout out both of them. They're fucking in the chats watching this now. But Lindell wants to know, what are your top 5 rap or beyond rap? So what are your top 5 music videos of all times, especially with you being a video guy? What are your top 5 music videos? And if y'all also have questions.
Holy fuck. I gotta say Crossroads. That's like the first like $1 million budget video I ever seen. You know what I mean? With the special effects and shit, and they're going up the mountain, and you got the fucking Grim Reaper and shit like that. You know what I mean? Crossroads, definitely that one. Maybe even like Triumph and shit. That too. That was like big, like the big budget shit. You know what I mean? That was a big video. You know what was a crazy video? Quiet Storm, but like the first one. You know what I mean?
No idea, but
Mobb Deep.
Other people will know what you mean, so it doesn't matter if I do.
In the building and shit, hiding in vents and shit with the fucking Zippo and behind the desk and shit. Yo, that video was like fucking amazing, man. Like that definitely. So what's that? Like that's 3. And you know what? Even like Big Pun, like I'm not a player. Not even still not a player, but the first video. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did.
I'm not a player.
I don't remember.
That's
That's not the one with the clubs. Yeah, like, is that the one on the boats?
No, not. It was like he was like doing like the Goodfellas, the Scarface shit. He was like he was in a club like the whole Scarface scene with you know what I mean, with the comedian and shit like that.
Yeah, okay,
and,
yeah, I know that was a good video.
Yeah, like that video was amazing to me. And yeah, he's like dancing and shit like that and all that shit. You know what I mean? And he's so big, that blew me away. So what was that like? That's 4. And fuck, it's hard, man. Shit. I don't know, like a couple like Missy did like a crazy videos, Busta Rhymes did like crazy videos, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, the Spikes, was it Spike something? Yeah, whatever. The guy that did all those videos with them that were really fucking nuts.
Like Hype Williams and shit.
That's the one, yeah. Not Spike. Hype Williams. Yeah. I fucked that up again. Wow.
It's hard for me to think of a 5th one, man. This is fucking hard, man. Like, shit. Like Callie recently showed me one though, and it was like this guy doing this whole fucking video backwards. So he memorized the lyrics to songs backwards, and then he did the whole video backwards like that. You know what I mean? That shit blew me away. I don't even know what that was, but like that, the creative, everything he put into that, and I think it was one long take or something like that too. Like I don't know, like how he did that shit.
Yo, I can think of one video like that, and it's by some like YLF guy.
Hip-hop.
Sorry? It's like a singy
it's
song.
Not even hip-hop. It was like, yeah.
But he's like signed to Psychopathic or Magic Ninja is the only guy I can think of who did that, and it's like a background. The whole video goes backward. Anyway, it's fucking cool. I don't know if it's the same one, but if it is, that's crazy because I can think of a video that's just like that. That's fucking cool, and it is more singy. It's guy has tattoos or whatever in a suit, and like I don't know if that's the same one. That's the one I can think of.
Okay, I can't imagine that somebody else would do that because that takes like a lot of work to even memorize this shit backwards. Like the motions of your mouth,
Yeah.
mouthing that backwards. You know what I mean? Like I did a video like with bated breath on my first album. It was in slow motion, but I had to shoot it fast. You know, double as fast. So that and then he slowed it down so it looked like I was like, and that was already hard enough. But imagine doing that shit like backwards. You know? That
Hold
would be
up.
fucking nuts.
You had to go really, really fast so that he could slow shit down. Oh, right. So that when in slow motion, you're looking normal. Oh,
So,
fuck.
so on beat, you know, to the right tempo, but I have to go do it, spit it super fast. So I would do hand gestures, everything fast, but then you see it slow down, and then it goes exactly with the words. Yeah, that's my video with Beta Breath, my second video.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
about suicide and shit like that. It's a video.
yeah, that's serious. That's cool that you read about
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Yo, I got another
yeah,
question for you. This one's from Ismail. And then I want to ask you a bit more about what you read about because I realized we kind of skimmed over your content a bit. But who's your favorite Asian rappers?
right now, maybe it's like Year of the Ox. You know what I mean? Like that's like what's the name? Lyrics and JL. They went viral with this one song, Seven Rings, and they could really spit, man. They could like spit, like you know, like real hip hop shit, like you know. But before that, like when I first started rapping, like I started rapping first before I seen any Asian rappers, you know.
Right.
But then I seen the Mountain Brothers. You know what I'm talking about? The Mountain Brothers, underground Asian rap group, like a studio. And one of them still making music, Chops. And they had the song Galaxies and shit like that. It was like pretty heavy rotation on like Rap City and shit like that. You know, when I seen that, I'm like, yo, I could fucking do it. I could really do this thing. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh, they're getting exposure and shit like that, and they didn't care how they look like. You know, they just fuck with the skills, and it's like some real hip hop shit. But then after that was Jin. You know what I mean? After I seen that Freestyle Friday shit. But it was funny is that I was onto Jin before that Freestyle Friday, all that shit. I was like, I seen all his vows before that shit. You know, like just on the internet. Like I couldn't believe I seen some Asian kids just ripping everybody with the comebacks. You know, they'll diss him, he's Asian, blah blah. Then he'll just come back with like a rebuttal that would just blow him away, like so what I'm Asian, and then just destroy his whole shit, you know. So after seeing Jin, that's what like really influenced me. Like, oh fuck, maybe I could do this on a major scale or some shit, you know.
What I think is crazy is in what you just said is like a really big thing about representation, right? Cause you're like, yo, I saw these dudes and that made me feel like I can go do it. And when you hear the big representation in Hollywood conversation, like the idea is that there's not enough people in the roles, therefore not enough people can visualize themselves actually going to do it. So I think it's crazy how just naturally that poured out of you, right? Like that wasn't just some scripted shit. That was just how you felt. So I think it's interesting because, yeah, Jin is cool. I know who Jin is because Sejep. He actually got big enough to like hit my life at one point. He was like the best battle rapper.
Every week, like 7 weeks, you just destroyed everybody, right?
That's probably what it was, but I didn't know what that was at that time. I only know what that is because I spoke to Bones Brigante and he explained it to me, and that was cool because he had a run there, so I know what it is now. But I just know Jin was big enough that I'd heard of him. But Ismail recommends checking out Ruby Ibada, who's pretty fucking fire. I really like her, and Bamboo.
Yeah, I heard of Bamboo. Yeah, I heard Bamboo for sure, but the first one I never heard of her.
Yo, she's fire.
Female Asian rapper? No, that's even more rare, you know? The only one I know is like Meja Lim or whatever, you know?
Yo, I know Meja One. Yo, Meja One's fucking fire though. Like I really liked Meja One. She popped up for a minute, cause my dude likes Asian girls. So when he found an Asian female rapper, it was like, actually, yo, bro, you gotta check this. But then it like she was fire with it, right? She has that video where she's in red and she like walks out into the street and all this shit kind of like happens, and I'm like, yo, that's actually a really good video now that I think about it, Lindell, just on the subject of good videos.
I opened up for her in like 2000 and
hold up, that's crazy.
2011 maybe. Yeah,
you opened up for who else all right, let's name drop some people. Who else did you fucking open up for? Who did you get to meet? This is fucking cool shit.
I opened up for Cool Herc. I opened up for like DJ Qbert. I opened up for my proudest moment is when I opened up for like Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? Well, this is after Prodigy passed, unfortunately. I got to meet him before that, but like I opened up for like my last big show before all this shit was like Mob Deep, but it was just Havoc, Big Noid, and the DJ was LES, you know, like legends, you know what I mean? And yeah,
Big facts.
like it was like a Prodigy tribute tour or whatever, you know what I mean? So I drove Havoc, like me and Skin Deep went to Ottawa, we picked him up and shit like that, you know. So I spent time with him, chilling. And he also has an Asian fetish. It's funny because right when you mentioned that, I thought of Havoc right away. He was like, "Yo, hook me up with some Asian shorty, son," you know.
That is fucking incredible, dude. That's a cool anecdote. I love the fact that how did you get to be the guy to drive him? How did you pull that off? That sounds like a cool privilege.
Crazy because like from high school, everybody knows like I'm the biggest Mobb Deep fan. You know what I mean? Like I love Prodigy P. Like he was like one of the lyricists. You know, in high school I was like, yo, this guy's like one of the best like rappers with the starting line. You know what I mean? Like the first bars, like the first opening bars, he always kills it. You know, and he had like one of the best voices. Like you know, sure, one of the best voices. Like unquestionable. And yeah, so everybody knew that I love Mobb Deep and you know who hooked it up was D Shade. You know what I mean?
No shit. Yo,
One
shout
of
out D
the
Shade.
legends, you know, from Shades of Culture. You know, D Shade.
I
So
I I know D Shade from Hip Hop Karaoke. I knew D
okay,
Shade
yeah.
for like 6 or 7 years. I had no idea who D Shade was. Then I found out who D Shade was. And I was like, oh my God, I had access to this guy for 7 years and never even bothered to like ask him questions. And I felt like
He's a
such
legend.
an idiot, right? Like all I had to do is talk to this guy about his career and I would have learned so much shit. And I was just
He's
so into myself, I never bothered to like pay attention to my surroundings. But yo, D Shade is a legend. That is what
he's a
it is.
pioneer. And yeah, I have a funny story how I met D Shade too. Actually, it was like I was on a set of a movie. I was like an extra on a movie and shit like that. I think the movie was called Heist. It was like a heist movie and shit. And I
Cool.
remember I met him on set, and he was like the bus driver and shit like that. You know what I mean? And he tended to listen to music and shit like that. And he's driving the bus and shit like that. So I met him on that level, but uh, same thing. Like he didn't even know I rapped and shit like that. You know what I mean? Until like later on, and I just didn't see him at every show. And like my last like my last solo project or whatever, A Better Tomorrow. He was in the video for Euphoria. Why, you know? So he was like he did a cameo for me in the video. He just happened to be there, and you know, he showed me love and shit like that. You know?
That's big, man.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm jealous, not like negative jealous, but like, yo, that's fucking cool, man.
The scene is like crazy because we were in front of this green screen. You know what I mean? And I had like this whole background with the Black Panthers and the Yellow Peril and shit like that. You know? And he was with his fist up. It was like you gotta check out that video. You know what I mean? It's a
I
good cameo.
absolutely plan on it. I mean, yeah, definitely will. That's the goal of a lot of this is to learn it. Cause yo, one day I would like to speak with D Shade, and when I do, I would like to be very prepared with stories and knowledge on that guy, cause his name comes
Yeah.
up a fair bit. Yo, for y'all that don't even know, like Shades of Culture is a banger. They have an album on Spotify that if you play it today, it just sounds amazing. Like it's just like an
Yeah.
amazing album that holds up today. And honestly, dude is just the most humble, respectable. Like you would, like he's just such a cool dude in general. But I don't know, I like
Really,
him.
he's such a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, straight up. So that's crazy. So yo, basically, then throughout this whole period, you're opening for a couple of interesting acts. Are you leveraging the internet throughout this period to your advantage, or are you more relying on the live scene to drive you forward?
I guess a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Like I guess I set up a website. I think it might even be down now, but you know I had like BuddaChild.com and
Mm.
you know what I mean. I put that everywhere in the city. You know, you might have seen the stickers. You know what I mean? So I try to like drive
Wait, what
traffic
was
to my
it?
site, BuddaChild.com and shit. You might have seen it. I had my logo. It's everywhere
I
downtown. You know?
I believe I have seen that actually on the metro. I'm not even
Yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah. It wasn't me. It might have been somebody else. But yeah, it's everywhere.
So, I mean, look, I'm not ever going to promote sticker marketing because it's a lot of plastic, but fuck is it actually kind of effective? Because, yo, I know what InfoWars was because that shit got plastered all over NDG at one point. I don't know why it did, but it was everywhere at NDG, and you would see it all the time. It would get taken down, and a new one would go up. And I'm not saying this is a cool strategy, but it does work.
Yeah. Infowars. What is that again?
Alex Jones's shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there was somebody that was so into his shit that like they were literally posting stuff all over my neighborhood. I was living on Elmhurst at the time.
That's the eyebrows, right? Yeah.
I don't actually know iBlast. I know of okay. So one time I met iBlast, and I was an idiot. A lot of my early career is I was an idiot because there's not other ways to describe moments really. I guess it's just stuff not to do. But so iBlast ends up being at the bar because I lived across the street from Goldie's, and it's like 11 o'clock on a work night, and all I had to do was hang out with iBlast, and who the fuck knows, maybe I could have got like a connection or something. Even just iBlast bumped my tune or something could have happened. Instead, I said I gotta go to work, and I went back to bed. Like a fucking, like when I think about it now, I'm like, what did that communicate to these people about how serious or not I am about my game and shit? And I'm like, whew. So I technically met iBlast one time, but I more know of iBlast.
Okay.
I more like understand his significance, and I have probably watched all of his music videos because I was sincerely a fan of his music. Like when I saw iBlast, I was like, holy shit, that's like A+ professional level. And then I saw the shit Dirtwork was touching, and then this is like 2012 and this was like, yo, these guys is like fucking real rappers, and I'm just a fucking chump, right? Like it blew my mind, honestly. And so like when you see all that, and it's like, damn, and then like time passes and stuff, I don't think people really understand how like tight their shit really was. Like it actually spread. Like it was more like the fan in me than the rapper in me that like led me to these guys, because I got exposed to it through like a social network effect and shit. Anyway, but yeah, so back to you though. So you were like, how are you using the internet at this time?
At this time, so we talking about like 2012ish.
Yeah, and beyond, over the next few years as social media evolves.
Yeah, I guess like I was on Facebook or whatever, you know what I mean? Then I guess MySpace fizzled out, and so I was on like SoundCloud probably, or like SoundClick even before that, if you remember that shit. And then I guess
I know what it is, but I don't remember it.
I guess it was SoundCloud before SoundCloud, you know what I mean? And now then SoundCloud and shit. And maybe even before that, it was like Bandcamp and shit like that, you know? And that was cool, you know. We like people could pay whatever they want, and my friends would support, and they hit me up with like $20 for an album or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like some of my friends really supported and shit like that. And yeah, but I don't think I have like the hugest internet presence. You know, I wasn't on every blog and shit like that. You know, but I don't even think the blogs are heavy these days now, right? Like you were mentioning, like people doing like reaction videos and shit like that.
Yeah, it's a better grind to pursue. I would recommend as an artist. I think interviews is smart. Like you should hit up 514 Online Mix straight up. They'll fucking interview you.
I just feel like it's happened with her like just recently and shit like that. Yeah, I might hit up. Yeah.
So you should hit her up. I don't know. I'll promote her. I mean, a few other people seem to be dibbling and dabbling. If other people pop up, I recommend doing that. Look, I recommend doing reactions over album reviews because people will watch reactions. They're not really gonna watch your long. If you're going to do anything like review-wise, it should be like 15, 20 minutes or less. Because my content's too long. Anything I do for you will be like an hour and a half. I don't know how to make them shorter. So like it's not, for me, it's like I wouldn't recommend that if you're actively trying to promote yourself. That's like for your hardcore fan base. But instead, reactions, so like in the way that you used to like hit up blog lists and shit, right? You can kind of just hit up YouTubers. I'm not going to lie, like, motherfuckers will hit my comments. I don't really click on those guys, but people email me, right? Because you can get to my email in the about section of my YouTube channel, and I'll get like every kind of press kit level you've ever seen, from like shit that looks like weird to like the simplest one-liners to elaborate emails. Like, it's fucking interesting. And I'm not really famous, dude. I got like 2,000 and change subs on fucking YouTube, and I already get fucking people. But I've been getting emails for shit for a couple years now, right? Like, yo, hit up anybody. And trust, all these guys at like 50, 100, whatever subs, that guy could blow up to 50,000 subscribers like overnight too, right? So you should hit up all these low-end guys who aren't going to think to charge you, and get them to cover your shit and get like a network effect in place. Because there's got to be like other people watching what's popping down there. So like, hit up reaction people. Just like fucking email them though. That would be my best advice. Just straight up email them and act like, you know, respectful. Like, yo, bro, I love your shit. And then watch their shit, because, yo, it's so obvious when you don't watch the shit, so you know what the fuck it is.
Know, right? That's why I had to make sure that I seen like a few like interviews before I did this. You know what I mean? I can't fake it and shit like that. There's no fake about me, you know? So
I respect that,
that's
actually.
How it's like format and shit like that, and how it's gonna go and shit like that. But yeah, I guess like reaction videos are like quicker. You know what I mean? Like, people don't have like an attention span these days. And Cali Merker was trying to break that down to me. Because like my first few albums were like full length albums, you know, 11 songs, 12 songs and shit like that. You know what I mean? And like only this album, I had to fight him and shit like that. He wanted me to make like 5 joints. I had to like put 6. You know what I mean? I can't cut off like songs. You know what I mean? So I just made it 6 joints and shit like that.
Yeah,
and like I even had songs on this album where like 3 verses. You know what I mean? He was like, "Yo, there's no way that they're gonna go through 3 verses." I'm like, "Fuck it, man. I'm not wasting these bars." You know what I mean?
I know that Kali might be watching. I don't think he is, because I haven't seen him there. But straight up, I don't 100% agree with him. I agree with him if your goal is mainstream success. But if your goal is to build a niche audience of people who support you, do what the fuck you want within reason. So look, your 3-verse song, I don't know, dude. I got a lot of people to listen to 3-verse songs this year. Okay, like, a lot of people listen to my 3-verse songs, so I'm not agreeing with him on that point. And I'll challenge him anytime. I think I questioned him on his interview, and I'll question it again because, yo, there's a lot of people that like it. Are you saying 1 million? Maybe not 1 million, but do you need 1 million? Nah, like 1,000's nice, okay? Like 1,000 paying clients, fuck off. That's like quit your job money at that point. So that's how I look at it. Like, you don't need the 1 million, but then you get to the album length, and I have to highly agree with him more than I'd like to admit, because, yo, the data substantiated it. They all dropped off after track 5 on my last release. I'm like, yo.
That's true, though. You never really, like, your last 2 tracks is never going to be as much as, like, the first 2, you know? So I feel like, you know, probably.
I'm not, like, fully willing to give it up. So check it. I want my albums. I don't give a shit. I'm conceptualizing an album right now. But I can compromise. I'm going to release it in chunks of 3. And then the last chunk of 3 will be the full album. That way that way it still gets released as an album and people can just like listen to it in order. But yo, Strange Music did this shit and I don't like it. Yeah, Strange Music been doing this for a minute. They've been doing like a part A, a part B, or whatever, a 4-track, 4, whatever, 5. And then you get that out and most people will listen to that shit. And then when it drops at the end, it's the full album. So, I mean, I'm like, look, man, I don't like this on a personal level. I think it's stupid. But just because I think it's stupid doesn't make it less effective and shit, right? Like, Merker's got a point. When it comes down to consumption of music at an album level, there are people who will listen to your 13-track project. A lot less of them these days. But apparently the 3-track thing...
You know what I mean? They probably like listen to 5 and come back to it, not in the entirety, you know? Like no one's really like, dedicated like the time.
Ismail Gadamsi is dedicated like that. That guy's a real one. He'll listen to your album front to back, bump your whole fucking discography. He is like the kind of fan the world dreams of and pretends doesn't exist, but I'm like, yo, Ismail's a real one. That guy's a real one. He's fucking a proper one.
Sure.
Yo, he's sitting there watching you. He heard your shit before. He was vibing. I'm sure he's gonna go bump it after. He's that kind of guy. Like he's fucking cool and supportive like that. I'd have to say I think there may be something to the smaller project release strategy, but even take your 6-track, if you do it in 2 parts, hypothetically, is good on 2 fronts, right? One, on the you'll get more attention for each part, and then on the other, you spread out your release. You know,
Exactly. To
so
me, it's genius though. I didn't even know people were doing like that. I didn't know Strange Music was doing like that. You know, it's like you're giving people a preview of it before the whole album type shit. You know,
yeah, I
like you're
get.
just making your own shit before the shit comes out, kind of thing. You know, right?
Yeah, yeah, I want to like take. I think like the future's gonna go next level with it. Take a look at Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, right? So he's on Twitch all year making music and all these live sessions, and like the fans, I guess, will contribute in some way or another. And then he released 3 volumes of quarantine sessions, and it's just him on Twitch making music, and it's like, yo, hold the fuck up. You got to consider it, man. His Twitch is monetized. There are gonna be people donating this, that, the next thing, all the way throughout. So he's already on a live stream before the album even comes out, collecting a revenue and gaining hype on this project, and now people feel like they're a part of. And I'm going, yo, the future is not album sales, guy. It's album making live in front of people.
Wow, and like he's interactive with the fans. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like that chorus," or change that line, and he'll do it.
I don't know. I didn't actually watch it. I don't know how much I'd be that like level of it, but I would interact with the fans and consider it. Like my homeboy Lemef, he's on Twitch right now. Well, maybe not right now, but he plays Minecraft and shit, but then he freestyles. So like if you follow him, he'll bust a little fucking freestyle, and then people throw words in the chat and he fucking busts a freestyle. But he also does beat making. And so he'll play with the snare, and people are like, yo, that snare's too this, things like that. Yo, your rap sucked. Yo, your rap was good. Yo, that bar was trash. Yo, that bar was good. So like in a sense, it kind of recreates a little bit some of that environment you were describing. Because yo, we can't be in the lab now. We're literally not allowed out of the apartment right now. We're stuck at home until tomorrow at 5 or 6 in the morning. So like,
I can't believe this. Like I never had to sit down like this like in my whole life. Like you know what I mean? This is it. But there's a blessing in ties, maybe, you know what I mean?
but like, I'm just saying, for an example, like, I think the future is album making live in front of audiences and shit like that. Because, yo, I mean, like, really, if nobody's selling albums, what does anybody have to lose? I'm not saying that people don't sell albums, but, like, you can see the clear decline in fucking industry money of album sales as a whole. Like, it's not like that doesn't trickle all the way fucking down to local, right? So shout out.
It's like whole singles now. Like yeah, it's a singles game now. You know, not like whole albums. You know, I know what you're saying. But like going back to what you were saying though, it's like the reason why I'm interested is like you see the artist's whole creative process and shit like that. You know, like you see how they actually make songs. Like maybe sometimes they won't even write it down. They write it in their head or some shit like that. You know, and go straight into the booth and shit like that. Or you know, pen and pad with it, old school shit with it. You know, so yeah, that's why I fuck with it.
Yeah, and to Ismail's point, sorry, Lindell also had a comment, but to Ismail's point, many albums really need time to be made. And I appreciate what your sentiment is there, because you're right. It's the big pickle of today, right? Like, yo, so like ideally what you would probably do is, because that's what mixtapes were, if you think about it, like throwaways, right? So you would do 2 things at once.
That's why I can never invest in that, you know what I mean? Like, I can't just do some half-assed shit, you know?
But yo, check it. I put out a bunch of bullshit in these contest verses recently. So I'm doing all these contests now. So I'm throwing my own at this point, because fuck it, I'd rather be a contest thrower. I don't like it that much. But yo, here and there I want to throw in, because you hear the beat, you write a little 16, a little whatever, you rap it, you're like, I'm never going to win this shit, I don't give a fuck. And you spit that shit.
Know.
No, dude, I know, because I know what they're looking for, and I'm not really what a lot of these guys are looking for. They're really into that battle rap punsy puns and like a certain kind of rap. And I just plus yo, there's also like other rules to this shit. Like I don't want to memorize my verses for a contest. Like to me, that's like way too much effort.
How do you even know you memorize it? Can't you just rap?
Because I'm just gonna fucking but you can see it on my fucking eyes and shit when I'm recording the video, right? So like people can, I faked it one time, but it was a lot of effort to fake it. I had to write on my whiteboard and wear sunglasses. It was too much effort to fake it. So it's just fuck it. I'm gonna lose your contest. But yo, when I post it to Instagram after, I get to put all the little hashtaggy poos and I get a couple little followers off of it. And I'm like, yo, that's cool. Cause yo, I put out a music video and the same thing happened on my Instagram. And a music video is gonna take a lot longer to make. Yo, but here's the thing: I'm watching these kids, and they just putting out anything. Oh fuck it, watermarked, fucking not paid program, all that. You know, like how like you, because we're like from the, you can't show off that you have. They're like fuck, sorry, can't show off that you have no money. Has to be the premium version. Kids are like fuck that watermark. That ain't gonna stop me posting it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, this is a whole new world. This is a different So like to that point, I don't think that albums need to be compromised to play the game. But in a lot of ways, we have to be willing to expose a lot of our shittier rhymes for the sake of creating content to like repurpose. Like I started an a cappella series for 15 weeks.
No way.
I put up 15 a cappellas in 15 weeks because, I was like, I don't need a fucking sound engineer. I can just rap
You don't
this.
need a beat, you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel you. Even on my first album, I dropped an a cappella song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard that shit, actually. It was fucking fire. You're like, the 16 something, the 16 whatever, and it was fucking nice, man. It actually stuck with me because it was crisp and clear and it came in nice. I appreciated that one.
Yeah. I mean, Cormega used to do that shit. If you listen back to the realness, he used to always drop an a cappella every album, you know? And I was going to continue on, but I was like, I don't know if people really fuck with it. You know, I'd rather have a hard beat or something like that, you know? I never actually continued on with that, but my first album, I wanted to do that.
I thought it was cool and it stood out. And honestly, it's the thing I remember most off your first album is the a cappella track and this DJ scratching. Because I only heard it one time. So that was like one listen. I remember the a cappella track and the DJ scratching. Those are the things that stuck.
Wow.
You were good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed listening to it. But like what stood out to me was the a cappella track because it was so crisp. It was on point. Like it felt like there was a beat there, but you were still just doing it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm glad that stuck with you. Wow.
Yeah.
I never really got feedback on that, you know what I mean? So I didn't know if people fucked with it or not, you know? I just threw it out there, you know? But yeah, my first album, like, I waited so long to put that out, you know? And, like, each album, I can remember, like, every aspect of my life. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a time capsule. Like, even how I mentioned in the acapella and shit like that, you know? So, like, with that first album, it brings me back to, like, the video story, you know what I mean? And, like, where I met my girl, and it was, like, a toxic relationship, you know? It was, like, my broker days and shit like that. So, that first album just brings me back to that moment, you know what I mean? And, yeah, with each album is, like, a time capsule. And like sometimes between albums, I live my life and shit like that, you know what I mean? So with this last one, you know, I just had a kid and everything, so I wanted to stamp that, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to like have that time capsule and, you know, and even like capture the moment of the whole process of how my child was born and all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds a fucking smash to me. Look, it's just so honest and raw. It's just like there's a passion to what you do. Like it really does feel like everything I heard of your music is super candid and super real about who you are and what you're trying to bring out in terms of energy to it. Have you always kept your music like that? Has that always been important to you?
Yeah, like I always felt like I had to keep it real, you know what I mean? Like I might have started off like, some gangster shit, but that's what it was like influenced me back then. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna write about my life, you know what I mean? Like no faking shit. Like whatever you hear, like I really into, you know what I mean? Like I hate how these rappers like talking about all this shit. It's like I really know you, and it's like I know you're not really like that, you know what I mean? So it's like maybe like the most important thing to me, you know what I mean? Because I just can't even fake it like that, you know what I mean? Like I keep it so brutally honest. Like I don't even say parts of my life like in person, you know what I mean? But like in the album, like I really get into it like that. Like I don't know why. I just pour my heart out, you know what I mean? And it was like therapy for me, you know what I mean? I need to get it out. Like I even tried like, I'm not gonna make no more albums and shit like that. But like I just did like going back to what that guy said, like it takes time to make albums. But with this last album, I did it in like 6 weeks, man. I knocked that shit out. Like Sky Beats was sending me beats like every week. I would book the session before I even wrote the song, you know what I mean? And it was forcing me to write the song. It would be the most prolific shit I ever wrote because like I was under pressure and like I needed to come with some shit into the studio, you know? And like I feel like this is my greatest album. I recorded really fast, you know? I was like in a zone for this shit.
Yeah, but you're also experienced. You also
I
have
guess so. Yeah,
you've been doing this like 20 years. Like that's
yeah.
a
Fuck, yeah, yeah. So you know what I mean? Yeah.
and I don't mean to
Like,
like put it out like that, but like so I
yeah.
mean, but yo, I find like writing comes in bursts, right? Like yo, here's the thing: I can go through periods where like literally I wrote my last album in like 6 7 weeks. It took me a lot longer to record that album, personally. So like the writing comes really fast for me. The recording is kicking my ass. I feel like I was just doing it wrong. I do one take. How do you record? Tell us about your recording process.
I'm I'm fucking crazy with it. Like the only one that really really knows is Cali. You know what I mean? Like he tells me nobody else does this. You know what I mean? Like basically I'll go in like I might have the verse like ready, or I might even write it in the studio. Other times I did like a collabo album with Tokyo Kid, Tokyo Sensei, whatever he goes by now, you know. And we would just go in line for line and just go in like off the like, top right in the booth live, you know. But usually I'll have it ready and I'll go in and I'll do like I'm not a one take guy, you know. I'm not gonna do bust one and just keep it, you know. I'm gonna do like at least like five, maybe five takes, you know, until I feel comfortable. And once I do those five takes, I'll come out and I'll listen to it like thoroughly, scan that with Cali, you know, and I trust his judgment so much that I will let him pick the best verse that he feels because to me I sound like myself. Everything sounds the same, but it sounds different to him because it's not him. You know what I mean? So like and of that and those five takes, let's say, I would pick the best part of each take, and I'll like piece it together like Frankenstein, and take each best part of each verse and piece it together the best verse. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I should say this shit, but you know what I mean. That's how I do it. Like,
No, yo, that's some real shit. Yo, so my guy, he's going by the Wizard now. We agreed on that name because yo, shout out the Wizard. Yo, because yo, that's how I'd introduce him to people when we were in real life. I'd be like, yo, this is my homeboy Matt. He's a fucking wizard. And then people would,
Okay.
because I was stoned, right, a lot. So I would have high moments like that, and people would like look at me like, what the fuck? But yo, because that's how it felt. Like he would take my shit and he would perform wizardry. He would do this whether or not I asked, right? Because, yo, you're like, yo, delete that shit. Yo, delete that shit. They're like, yeah, I'm deleting. And then you're like, you watch the takes go down, and you're like, you're not deleting anything. Kept everything. And I would, like, record, like, 15 takes until I found, like, 5 I was comfy with. But he kept all the other shit. And then mostly he would end up getting rid of it after a while because that all actually did sound like shit. But he would do the surgery. We would listen to stuff and be like, yo, so I like the first part of this first one and the second part of that one. I would refuse to like chop up my flow and actually record it in parts because I was a stubborn mule. But at the end of the day, there are many fucking times where like, yeah, right after the fact, he would just say, yo, don't be stupid. It's easy. Listen. Tick, 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 tick. And he would do the surgery. And now it would sound like that was all one take. And I'm like, yo,
Exactly.
like, and then yeah, that's why I called him a wizard. That sounds as magic, you know. Like he took.
He's smart. And Cali Merker does the exact same thing. You know what I mean? He'll piece together. Like, sometimes you might have kill it in the beginning, fall off. You know what I mean? And they kill it at the end or something like that. You know? So you'll take the best parts. You know? And then I'll be satisfied with it. You know? I'll feel like, oh shit, this verse is like too amazing now. I'm gonna keep it now. You know? And then I'll do the backs. You know? Overdubs. But with me, like I'll do the whole fucking thing, the whole back. Some people do like, I would do a whole verse. That way I have everything, and then I'll piece that like just certain parts, take off everything, but keep certain parts, you know. So the overdubs are perfectly on point. I'll get them to like, you know, place it perfectly on point, and then I'll go in and do my ad libs and shit like that, you know. I wasn't really the biggest on ad libs before, but now I have my, you know, my few ad libs and shit, and you know.
Yeah, I relate to that heavy. But yo, also part of it too is because I noticed you were faster when you were younger, and then you slowed down. So here's the thing about fast rap: where the fuck are you putting an ad lib? Like anywhere you would put it, like already too many bars have passed, so ad libs are not easy. Slow it down a bit, have a little couple pauses, and you can throw in a couple little like well placed ad libs to add some value. So I totally get that.
Like the only space is like when you take a breath, maybe that's like the only space. Maybe you throw an ad lib or some shit, you know.
Otherwise, it's like you're competing with. You're like, no, fuck that. They need to hear me rap. I'm rapping fast. Shut the fuck up, ad lib me. That's how I would feel
Yeah.
about it.
Back then, I felt like I had to rap fast to show them I had skills. You know, I like the double time. You know what I mean? The tongue twister shit. You know what I mean? But like then they're missing all the lyrics. Really, you know, like Pun had it perfectly where you know he had the flow and the lyrics. You know what I mean? But sometimes maybe they can't catch it because the flow's too fast. You know,
Yeah.
so like I still go fast sometimes. You know, just show them that I can. But most of the point, time, it's like in the pocket. You know?
Yeah, man. I feel like I'm hearing myself talk a little bit right now with what you just said, cause yo, I always rap fast. It was always important to me because yo, that's to prove I was like the best. Plus, I could, cause not everyone can
Yeah,
actually go
you grew
that
up on
fast.
Bone Thugs and shit, right?
So
Bone Thugs and
yeah,
Crazy Bone.
so like
Yeah.
I think like the highlight of my life career wise as a rapper is performing Rap God at Just for Laughs. It's not even my own song. I did Rap God at Just for Laughs. It's fucked up,
No
but
fucking way. Like word for word, like
almost, yeah.
super.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it on video. I can prove that shit. So yeah, yeah,
I
definitely.
believe you. But how'd you learn that shit? Did you have to read the lyrics and shit like that?
It took over 15 hours. That round. That round. As in, I'd already done it before a couple of years earlier, so I had the foundation down. But actually, like, part of it was okay. So here's the trick to this shit. I feel like with memorizing other people's work, think about what all their bars mean. So like at a part in Rap God, he's like packing a mac in the back of the act, and I'm like, oh
That's
shit,
fun.
yeah.
That's big fun.
So once I realized that's Big Pun, I was able to remember that better. And so anyway,
Yeah.
but it's really just repetition, man. So you do it with the lyrics for a while. Then you do it with the song and the lyrics also. Then at some point you start dropping off to the a cappella or just the karaoke version that you're gonna go on. And then it's really just you're gonna have like 8 parts that you fuck up and the rest of it you're gonna know. And then you just keep practicing until you know each of those. I'd be in the shower and I would just spit the parts I was fucking up over and over again. I would do it when I'm washing. Yo, my girlfriend has suffered for my rap career in ways that nobody fucking even knows. Cause who do you fucking think hears all this bullshit while I'm doing it, right? Cause
Oh,
yo, that's not even
that's
my
dedication,
song.
man. I swear to God, that's like that might even be harder than doing your own shit. You know what I mean? Because like the M shit, like the hardest part is not even fast shit, but like where do you catch your breath? Because his breath control is crazy. So you would have to have the same breath control, or like take a breath and key points. I don't
So
know, like
I dropped it for the really fast part because when he performs it live, he uses a hype man. So I felt if M uses a hype man when he does it live for that part, like
yeah,
in the some of them that part in the middle, he uses a hype man. So I
yeah,
took the breath where M takes the breath. Otherwise, I didn't. You can find the pocket. If you
okay,
really trace it, there's usually a way that you'll realize, oh, there's actually a space here. And so you can find it if you do the song enough times, you'll find everywhere the artist breathes. And you'll be able to like figure it
he
out.
did like Frankenstein that shit. He actually like took breaths and really like did that shit. Like
Yeah.
wow,
It's the well, cause like yo, I was able to do it for 6 minutes straight, and I only did it because I found all the parts I guess where Eminem breathed. Because if I was
okay,
able to breathe, M could breathe. To be fair, you have to be able to fill up your lungs ridiculously fast. Like you have to practice that shit. Like you got to be able to fill your lungs from like nearly empty in like a split second. Which if you're able to rap fast, you know how to do. You know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? Where like you're like,
yeah. You can't like force it out. You guys, like you can't push it all at once. You got, yeah. I feel exactly what you're
and
saying,
like
man.
so you're like the whole time you have like in a video game a breath gauge in my head where I'm keeping track of how much air is in my lungs the entire performance so that I know where I have to. Because yo, also like because that depends on how much you can move. So like there's parts where you can't physically move because if
You
you
can't
move
jump. Yeah,
it's gonna like
yeah.
fucking use air and like.
Yeah.
But I
You
don't
got
know.
like maybe even one spot and shit like that and just rip it like that. But like I mean that's very impressive because you smoke a lot, right? Like me. So like
uh
the breath control,
I would say at
like
this point, I'm more or less done cigarettes. I still smoke the occasional cigarette. It's mostly the vape, but weed, yeah, no tobacco, weed. Weed, I
me
feel
too.
like weed doesn't hit my lungs like tobacco does, though. Like, I don't, I run 10 kilometers smoking pot. So, like, I don't know that weed's really, like, I'll smoke a joint literally sometimes right before I walk out to do a run. And then I'll smoke a joint, like, on the way back. You know, like, Like to me, it just doesn't hit my cardio. Like it just makes me wanna like push. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking get that shit.
Gym, you know what I mean? And smoke a joint right after. Yeah, I feel you. I do the exact same thing.
But yeah, so like I don't know, but tobacco, big time. There's no fucking way I could have done. Yo, actually losing weight was huge. So when I did that performance, it was the hardest thing of my life. Because I was too fat, and so the biggest thing I did to improve my breath capacity was lose weight. It was huge. It was like.
Yeah, I can't even imagine you big. I don't even know how you looked before this. But yeah.
Yo, if you watch that Rap God performance, it was the
Yeah,
fattest.
I'm really gonna go back and watch
Yo,
that
it was
shit.
huge, man. I was about 280 about that point. Yeah, 5'7", 280, and it was like,
Yo,
yo,
you're my height, you're the same height, man. That's crazy.
I was not.
Wow.
I don't know. I like to eat when I'm everything. Pick an emotion.
Yeah.
If I'm happy, I like to eat, and if I'm sad, I like to eat. It is what it is. I'm kind of stuck with.
Also with fun, he had the craziest breath control too, and he was super big. You know what I mean? So it's possible. You know?
It's just like I don't know. I don't necessarily recommend it. Yo, you know what helps though? Fucking losing weight, yo. Honestly, I'm not even recording right now because I know that if I just do cardio for like, cause yo, I got kind of out of shape in December and shit. Like I kind of got lazy over the holidays. So now it's like I actually want to hit the cardio for the next week and have an elliptical at home. And so then I can go record because it actually has such a huge fucking difference on recording. So like, even like now I know I'm sluggish. I gotta go actually like fucking hit that for like a few more days. I can feel it in how like I breathe in and shit. And so like I know that the better shape I'm in, the more like my cardio is on, and it's cardio, right? Which has a lot to do with oxygen distribution in your blood. And when you're dealing with shit like holding your breath, this has like a fucking impact. So the better shape you're in, like has a huge impact on actually how much you can do, especially if you want to do some singy shit or like fuck around with range or whatever.
Absolutely. And it even helps like performing live and shit like that. Even though we can't even perform right now, but like I went to see a show like not to shit on Kill You. I went to there with my girl and she even noticed that this guy was like out of breath. He was dying and shit. He's out of shape, missing words and all this shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, you need that cardio. It's like really key.
Big time. I mean, even Eminem was out of shape at that last performance when he did Lose Yourself or whatever, and he kind of looked a little bad, and people made fun of him all over the internet for it. And I'm not judging Eminem for it. Fuck it. You're Eminem. You don't have to fucking do anything. You can just show up and rap, and it's okay. That's fine. You've done your time. But I would definitely say that if I ever go on tour, like for reals, I'm gonna have the strictest fucking diet before I go. Like a good month before, I'm just gonna not eat bullshit at all, and I'm gonna try to like fucking push it all. Like, cause yo, it's like so important, especially cause we're not young, and we're competing with 20-year-olds, right? So yo, these people are. Have you watched these kids perform, man? It's basically mosh pit times.
The craziest performance I ever seen was like MGK.
Mosh pit times.
You know, Mac and Busta Rhymes and shit like that, you know. But like, they go hard, like jumping from the fucking like top of the arena to the crowd, like they could die. Like I don't know, I can't believe he even did that. Like
these guys have a couple of drugs in common. They both enjoyed in their youthful, wilder days. That drugs. I'm not saying today. I'm saying both of those guys at certain points in their career were into certain things that might make you feel wild enough to jump off of anything.
Like the top of what is that? The topless or whatever, yeah, like. But it's fucking high. I mean, like it's like.
But yo, like straight up though, like, okay, do you remember Meyer Clarity?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I did shows with him too.
Have you ever seen him? Yeah. You've seen him perform then, right? Because he did that shit, and he would like climb up on.
He's rolling. Like just rolling on stage, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't give a fuck, you know what I mean? Like I admire that, like someone that just doesn't give a fuck that much, you know what I mean?
But like I look at it now and I'm like, yo, Meyer is the one performer. I know he got Performer of the Year from one of those online magazines before he left for Toronto. And shut up, Meyer Clarity. That dude hooked me up with a beat, and it's my second best song.
Really?
Yeah, Meyer beats. Yo, Meyer Clarity is a beat making, producing.
Wow.
Yo, but this is way back. This is like 2012. I met Claire. So Meyer Clarity and I were connected when I got into the scene through Bookworm. He was booking these shows, and this is back when Make Way was just starting. So I ended up kind of, in the same performance circuit with those dudes for a minute. And it was actually really huge for my career at that time because it was kind of similar to the other things, the same groups of people, consistency. We were able to bomb for a minute, and then it all kind of ended. I don't really remember why. But like, basically, what I knew him from back then, and then he's like, yo, I'm selling beats, and he gave me a ridiculously small number for the value of what beats are today, and I said sure, and it turned out to be a song that to this day, if I played it, people still fuck with it, and I'm like, yo, Maya Clarity had an ear back then, so yo, to this day, he still sells beats and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, man, that guy's fucking doing all right.
I think that song, what's it called?
Jimmy Says.
Jimmy Says, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can send all you all that after. But, yeah, I really like what he did with it. I think a lot of it's the beat. I also think my last track that I did okay with, this Lose Weight song, it did okay because of the beat. It was all, like, my guy Matt made that, the wizard. And I realized, yo, it's not even, like, me that, like, yeah, okay, I had a hook. I had parts of it that are there that are cool, sure. But he, like, fucked with the arrangement. He fucked with the ad-libs. He's like 70% of that track, in my opinion. I'm just like the face of it, right? But I feel like when we really think about engineers and shit, they really are so much of it, you know, especially good as a beat maker. That guy did some, I don't know, do you make beats?
No, I co-produced, like the song Dramatic Entrance, I co-produced that with Kelly, you know? So, but like, I don't sit there and hit every drum type shit, you know what I mean? I can find the sample and shit, and you know, tell them exactly what to do, kind of thing, you know, like Dre or whatever. But I appreciate producers, like producer rappers and shit like that could do both and shit, like Havoc or RZA, Kanye, all of them, you know.
Yeah, no, my guy just sends it to me. It's already like a song, like structurally set up, or he pictures a song, and then almost every time I give it back to him and I do what I want with the beat. But I feel like there's a song to everything he gives me. I never even ask him to rearrange shit. I never have. I've never asked a beat maker to rearrange a beat in my life. Not even one time.
I always do. I always do. Wow.
I don't know. Like, it's also like just how my life's worked out is I've often gotten this scraps that other people didn't want. So the beat maker was never going to sell it anyway. And they just wanted to see someone make a song out of it. And I got those a lot in my life.
Yeah, sometimes it's, you know?
But like, I don't know. I feel like because I also never picked beats smaller than 3 minutes in my life either. So I never like look for like a sample or let's make a beat or whatever. It was, I want the rights to a composition that already exists. And so I would find shit. And if you find anything more than 3 minutes, yo, there's already a full structure in place. And if you look past like the beat leasing sites, you'll find beats that have cool structures that are beyond just 4, 8, 16, 8, 16, 8, you know. You'll find like cool structures out there if you actually dig around and look for it. But yeah, I've never bothered. Like, I just felt like, I don't know. I didn't have the people. I didn't know. I didn't even know you could do that when I was younger. I remember I bought a beat off a guy and I didn't even know what I was buying. I just got this file and I'm like, wait, there's no tracks? And then I didn't even realize that like that's way more expensive and shit down the line.
Give you all the stems, right? The whole track.
No, I didn't this time. I just paid $80 and I got a beat because I didn't know to even ask these questions. Every other time people had just given me the stems. So I just thought that came with all the beats. I didn't know that motherfuckers just charged you for MP3s and shit.
So who knows? You could have jacked that shit and like, you know what I mean? Like 2-track that shit and resold that shit. Who knows? Fuck. You never really tell, really. You really know the producer like that, you know? That's why I stick with Sky Beats, you know what I mean? Like he does like my whole album.
How long have you been fucking with Sky?
Since my second solo album. Like I wasn't on to him for the 1 in a Billion. You know, like at the end of that I started going to Cali and he mixed 1 in a Billion, that song. That's why he added the cuts and beginning and shit, you know, it was genius. But like for Come Hell or High Water, the second album, he did like almost the whole shit, you know. And then I did like a Better Tomorrow, like my conceptual album with like only Asian hip hop beats. I don't know if you heard that album yet, but I got Sky to do the whole album almost. And it's just Asian samples in a hip hop form and shit. Like I don't think anybody ever did that, you know. I wanted to make history and shit like that, but I never really got the exposure that I thought I should have gotten, you know what I mean? But like it was probably my most, you know,
well, the beauty of today is that you can just work on re-exposing older work.
Yeah, thank God I have that back catalog, you know, so they can always go back to that if
Yo,
anything,
but
you know.
yo, that 1 in a Billion song was fucking hit me, man. I was sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, yo, imagine having a population of 1 billion people, and when they say 1 in a billion, and you're like, nah, literally, that's me and my people, because, like, I'm like 1 in 35 million, right? So that's a different statistic. And I was like, that's a powerful song. Like, the double entendre angle you took with
Exactly.
it
That's
is
why I
fucking
did it.
cool.
Yeah.
So I did hear
I
that one.
found myself, I said that in like the Stratagems album, the first album, I'm 1 in a billion, and then I found myself for the chorus. You know what I mean?
Mm. Which is cool though. Like I just think it's cool that your songs are about things. And I think that for a while the musical world maybe didn't make it easy for people who made songs that are about things to like get out there. But I
Mm.
also think that the whole musical landscape has shifted a little bit and there's a lot of different ways to get out there. Like how open are you to stuff like leveraging TikToks and all of this shit to like push your brand forward?
Shit, to tell you the truth, I'm kind of like late on everything. You know what I mean? Like I even just got Zoom like this week. You know, just like for this interview and also for my daughter's school and shit like that. You know, so I don't even have a TikTok and shit like that. You know, maybe I should get on it and even like Twitch and all that shit. I don't even have that shit. Like
Yo, Twitch is a bit more complicated, but at a basic level, there's like you can go live off your phone. To do the fancier shit, it's a little bit of effort. We can figure out the effort. Those are just details you can learn. You do need a decent computer. But
yeah.
TikTok's fascinating because it's really low effort and you can do some funny shit. Like I found this girl
Yeah,
who does a
people
singer.
blow up like that girl on the garbage truck girl. You know what I'm talking about? And she's just hanging out, the Asian girl
Mm.
hanging off the back of the garbage truck. She
But
blew up off that. I'm like, what the fuck?
but there's just other shit you can do too. Like take music. This girl I saw, she has the duet thing. She sings half the song, sings
Okay.
2 lines, 3 lines, whatever, leaves it open, and then comes back in the end to close it. And you could be whoever you want. You take this and you do what's called a duet, which is where you have them on one side and you're on the other side, and then you fill out the bars in the open spots. And you just rap that shit on camera real quick one time. You fucking fill out the other half of that TikTok, you know? And with
Oh
that,
wow.
I mean, I haven't got to doing it yet because for me, like, it takes me a minute to actually, because I'm saying to do this, you know, because I want you to know that I'm not a hypocrite with it. I'm still not quite there yet myself. I have to buy some headphones or something that'll work right, and excuses. But the truth is, when I do get back into my like pushing music grind proper, like I'd be remiss to not be there. But then on the other side, you take your own beat and you make your own version of that challenge and you fucking do your thing and go, who wants to duet with me? Then I pop on and do my thing like that. Next man's pops on and
Oh,
does his thing like that, and we create like a network effect like that. That's just an example of what can be done if we're all willing to do it together.
aren't you doing that right now? Didn't you just put out like some kind of contest or something like that for like $100? Is that you?
Yes, that is me. But there's also
Okay.
somebody else. But I think I did invite you today to that. I went on a little invite spam. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah, so for me, what I saw happen was, and actually there's a contest announcement going on right now that I'm not going to win in. But you know, when you're in a contest, your heart and soul always wants to win, even if you know you're not going
You
to.
never know. That's why I always thought I was gonna win it, and I kept winning. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I
Nah,
mean? Like,
this one, I know for a fact that like you know who the fan favorites are kind of thing going into it, and like it's not to say that it's rigged, but these guys tried way harder than I did, and I know it. I'm saying that I put in like no effort and they tried really hard. I don't deserve to win, and I know it. If I win, it's like some fucking miracle shit, and I know that. I'm okay with
yeah,
that.
no, it's going back to like the fucking radio days and shit, and they get more callers to call in. It's like that shit's beyond your control. You know what I mean?
Mm. But either
It was
way,
just on.
so these guys put up a $500 contest, but what really caught my eye was Classified was a guest judge. So I did my thing and I thought I was fucking cool, and then I saw I was not cool. Honestly, I came in arrogant. I thought I was hot shit. I rushed my shit. I saw the shit that came after me and I shut the fuck up. Then I was participating a little more humbly and trying a little bit harder. Whatever. And then I said, yo, nobody from Montreal is doing this. Why is nobody? And then I'm trying to get people to participate in their contests. But at the same time, I was like, yo, let me run a contest. So this is my second contest. I
Okay.
I did my first one. It was $250 for the first prize, and then a bunch of $50 prizes. And it was to add a remix version of my Lose Weight song. So technically, there's now like 15 versions of that track out there with a whole bunch of features. And there's no fucking way I could have got these features. Even for $500, if I were to pay that out like that, I never would have got these features on that money.
A
This
lot of
saved.
people. Holy fuck.
So we got a lot of entries. It was actually really cool. Plus, there was some merch prizes, blah, blah, blah. The COVID hit. So some people's part of their prizes are delayed until I can go to a post office again proper. But then we're going to make a remix album out of that. So I said, yo, this is a cool idea, but I can't afford to spend that kind of money. Let's do an easier contest. And then shout out Peter West. He was like, I'll do your beat. I'm like, no shit. Straight up. That's fucking fire. So Peter West made a beat on the spot in late December. That became the contest beat. So now how it works is you spit a 16 plus. I don't care what you do. I just want at least 16 fucking bars of content. I would count a hook as bars of content, okay? If you want to call it a hook, that's...
Bars if they wanted to.
Sorry?
Someone could spit 100 bars if they wanted
Well,
to.
they have the beat. So, I mean, the beat's kind of like 2 minutes. So, you got a little bit of a limit on that. But let's say you want to do an extra little bar here or there or whatever. I don't fucking care. A little intro. I put a plus. And then you fucking spit that shit. And then I got a couple of judges together. We going to decide our favorites. And then motherfucker wins $100 plus the beat. Then we do it again the month after. Then we do it again the month after. And we keep doing that. And that's like an effort I'm trying to do to like galvanize the community a little bit.
Wow, no, it's big. I think it'll bring a lot of people to do it. You know, I seen Nate Husser do that. You know, and he was giving me like $50 or something like that. And even Cali participated. He got 50 from that.
You got 50 from that?
No, not me, but Cali did.
Yeah, Cali did. So I saw that happen, and I straight up wrote a post the other day tagging Nate Huss because, yo, he was the inspiration for my contest grind also. So combination with BWR, the Breaking Records people in their contest, I saw Nate Huss do the Jelly remix, and I'm like, that's smart. So, yeah, now I'm just going to run this shit. And it's associated with my new brand, the Bridge the Gap. So it's the Bridge the Gap with bars. So now I'm going to run that like so it becomes a little bit bigger. And then we can start making merch and throw that into the prizes and da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Did you find someone to do your clothing and shit like that?
I was going to hit up Jamal Hussein through Preach and Kobe's people. So, and then I was like, I kind of need to wait until I actually buy my girlfriend her Christmas birthday present that I promised her that COVID prevented me from buying her. And then I'll know how rich or broke I am. And then I can commit money to this. So COVID kind of like has hit me in this part because I want to go local with this. It's important to me. I want it to be Montreal. And it can wait. It can wait a month or two to me. But I'm pretty sure, like, Jamal Hussein was, like, the first guy local that I talked to about it. So, at the very least, the first batch will run through him is how I see it.
No, that's cool. Yeah. But, yeah, definitely run the merch with it, with the contest. That'll be good, man.
Yeah, for now, it's still a hundo. It'll be a hundo every month until Christmas, and we'll see what life is like then and how corporate Santa treats me. But yeah, what do you have coming next after this project? How do you plan to promote this? What is your like next little bit looking like?
So I just dropped this video, you know what I mean? I'm gonna push it. You might even see in the ads in the YouTube and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like I want to be like, that seen by that much people, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm passionate about the song and shit. And I'm probably gonna drop another video. I think probably by hook or by crook, like the title track to the album. And that's my three verse song, you know what I mean? The one Callie's like, yo, I don't know, maybe you should do like 2 verses. I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing 3 verses. I'm gonna do a video to that. And you know, the video might be 4 minutes and shit, but you know what I mean? Like I'm spinning hard on that track, and it's like a hustler's anthem. So I might, you know, I'm gonna shoot a video for that. Probably with Mike Drones, you know. I just did that video with him, dramatic entrance, and yo, this guy's passionate. We're up to like 5 in the morning, like 6. You got like shooting in the streets and shit like that, you know what I mean? This is like before the COVID shit, but like, you know, he goes hard just like me, you know, like nonstop, you know? So he's a good director. If you're ever taking a video with your next video, holler at him.
Fair enough. I got a thing where a friend of mine was like, I'll edit your shit for free. And I said, I'll film my shit for free. Fuck yeah. And that I'm not gonna fuck with that arrangement until she stops doing it, and then I will look into new situations. But I'm more interested in this like interview shit, right? Like this seems to be like a really fascinating way to grow on my end. So I'll worry about this until like the next thing I have to worry about. And I don't like to like, I don't know. I like relationships a lot. Like I would rather work with somebody that's less good that I like than somebody that's better that I don't like, because I like to like
Okay.
people I work with.
Never. Holy fuck. But it makes sense though. You know what I mean? You're like a people person. You feel like you have to really fuck with them.
I'm not a people person. I'm like the opposite. I'm like an antisocial dude, right? So I'm really bad with people. So to like trust you,
That's crazy because you're a very good like a speaker. You know what I mean? Like I feel you have the gift of gab. Like to do this, you have. You know what I mean? You gotta be like.
I would say it's a lot of practice, and I'm sure most people could do this. I read a lot, so there's a few things that I do in Conundrum that allow me to maybe have more experience at doing this. But I had to study how to be better at even doing this. Like this isn't the first interview I've done. Yeah, I did like a lot at this point, not a lot, but enough that I would say it's a lot. So it's like not my first rodeo, and I'll just keep getting more and more practice with it.
Exactly. Better.
But when
And,
it
you know, it
comes,
happens like, yeah, like even like Joe Budden, who I consider like one of the like amazing lyricists and shit. He ended up doing that. Nori, you know what I mean? Even Fat Joe, I love this. Fat Joe
yo,
show.
I haven't seen his show yet, but I keep seeing clips and they're hot. But yo, as you say that, I actually was watching Drink Champs the other day, and I was
Yeah.
studying. Yo, what is it that works here? And I'm like, yo, he gives everybody flowers. So I started giving people more flowers in my shit. I'm watching Joe
That's exactly
Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, sex eyes, everything you say is interesting. And I'm like, no shit, Joe Rogan does. He does it with everyone. No matter what you're saying, Joe Rogan will act like he wants to bend you over and fuck you right now on the spot, for the most part, or he'll argue with you. But he has this like,
I never noticed that, and I watch the show a lot.
um,
Now I can the same. I don't know.
no, it's like, cause not to say he's fake about it. He's actually really not. He just,
That's how you. Yeah.
he's also usually fucked up. He's also like high and drunk half the time. So it might be like
Yeah.
just super enthusiastic. But I noticed that the effect it has on people, he gets them to talk. And then I watched Joe Budden, and he's a great case study because he just got better over time. And he's really smart. And he doesn't give a
Yeah.
fuck. He just does
He
his
has this
shit.
personality where he's just like an asshole or whatever, but he keeps it real and shit like that, you know. And he's a great rapper, and he's taught to do that. It's crazy.
But yeah, basically, I have to say, literally anybody can fucking replicate this. Like, it's not that hard. It takes time. I'm not going to say that you can maybe hold down a multi-hour conversation multiple times a week without some practice in that. But I definitely think literally anybody watching this could go out there and, engage in this. In fact, I keep trying to tell rappers and shit, like, start podcasts, yo. Get on Twitch. Do some shit live. Because, A, you'll get exposure with it. Like, yo, I don't see how the future's not going to, like, virtual realities. And, live is going to come back in a minority. But, like, man, where the fuck are you smoking pot live? Like, you have to go outside at the show. There's so many factors that come into play and shit where, like, I think people are getting real comfy staying home and smoking dope and shit, Like, not to say that listen, COVID's gonna end. We're gonna be allowed to go to bars. I'm gonna be at, like, 17 fucking shows for, like, 3 months and then stay home for a year. Not a year, but, like, I think that's what a lot of people are actually gonna do. A lot more than people really give credit to, because these are our new. We have a lot of new habits, a lot of new habits.
Like just watching movies at home now and shit. And,
But not even that, I order way more food. That's expensive. Now it's gonna be like, do we order food or do we go out? These are gonna become new questions we ask ourselves that we never had to ask ourselves before because we just had different budgets. We're going to have to compromise shit to go out again with our new privileged Uber lives. I'm just saying for myself. I just believe everybody else in their own way has adopted new habits and has changed up how they live life in a way where going out is going to look different than it used to compared to what we've grown accustomed to now. Now, I think a lot of people are going to go out. So to all the people that criticize me and tell me live shows are coming back, I agree with you. I never once thought they're not coming back. I just think
Yeah.
the internet's gonna play a bigger hand in it. Like, yo, like we're gonna throw a cipher. So in theory, you come through. Vincent Price is gonna be DJ, is what it looks like, right? So
Yeah.
he's gonna come play some beats. You freestyle. You just pop on a Zoom call just like this, and you
Mhm.
rap. That's all you have to do with
Yeah.
headphones. We'll talk about the gear ahead of time. Uh, but like, yeah, that's like the end of it. You know, you just fucking spit your shit. That's the way we can all participate in this new Zoom life. But then you don't have to wait at the bar for 4 hours, cause yo, waiting at the bar for 4 hours, yo, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Waiting to go on type shit, you
yeah,
mean? Or
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like you get there for like 6 o'clock because the doors say 6 o'clock. I don't know about you, but yo, inevitably, I feel like people did learn to not do that. But I'm punctual, dude. I can't help it. I'm like, yo,
the exact same way, but I know that for shows, I'm gonna go mad late. But one time I fucked up and I missed like the beginning of Common, you know, because I thought he was gonna
mm,
go on so late, but he didn't. And it's like, who knows, you know?
all I know is I try to show up. If it's like I get my girlfriend's like, you're an idiot. The shows never start on time. But on every local show I've been to, I probably show up within 30 minutes to 45 minutes of the time it's supposed to start, and then I still wait. But even when it's
Yeah.
like, I say all that, but my first show, the show was supposed to start on time, but I held it up because I forgot my USB key at home. Shame on me. But in
No,
general,
say
yeah.
that to yourself, man. You have to do that.
But in general, it's like the show's like, yeah, it's not even that. Let's say the show starts on time, and you're only gonna perform 3 hours into the event. It's still
That's
like you're still at
true.
the bar all night. You know, like you're still
You're just
out,
thinking, you're probably even getting wasted, whatever, you know, before you even go on. And it's like, I
and that
feel
has a
you, man.
cost, right? So now
Yeah.
going out, and I'm just trying to break this down practically how I see it. You know, maybe people can disagree, but like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, I remember like just sitting there, and then you end up buying more drinks because you're there for like 4 hours. So or you don't, and then you feel like a broke ass for 4 hours. Those were not the funner ones. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, compare that to pop on the Zoom calls. Yo, I've been doing these open mics with end of the week on Sunday nights, and we just hop on the
Oh,
Zoom call. I'm meeting all these guys in New York City and shit. I'm meeting like cats like Nunzio, who worked on the Biggie album, who now wants to do a song with me and shit on Zoom calls.
wow.
I'm like, fuck real life, man. This shit's actually working for me.
That's a,
Sorry?
wow. Biggie's album right after that?
He worked on both of them as an engineer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. Yo, I got these two interviews where he breaks it all fucking down, his whole like experience and shit. So this guy's on the end of the week calls all the time because he was fucking around, but he was one of the original engineers at Daddy's House, Bad Boy Studio in the '90s, which is fucking crazy.
That's amazing connection right there.
But all you had to do is jump on a Zoom call. Anybody has this connection right now. Anybody can go to end of the week, get ingratiated into their community, and rap in front of that guy by jumping on a Zoom call right now.
That's true. You got basics on?
Basics pops through sometimes. Usually
Yeah.
basics basics gets asked to like host and do like concerts and shit. So like
Okay.
basics gets to be more like a featured guest or like a host because he's like heavy with end of the week Quebec. I just go in because I'm like, yo, the music's fire, the talent is really impeccable, and I'd say I participated about 15 times, maybe, for reals.
Really?
I've done off the domes. I've done like I just got invited to do their MC virtual challenge, the MC challenge shit, like you know the tournament thing that Basics competes in, or
Oh,
whatever.
that, yeah.
I just got
Yo,
a invite for that on the Zoom call last Sunday because I did it
yo,
off, not last one, the one before, because I did it off the dome, and they fucked with the tempo and I rode the beat, and they were like, "Yo, you just got an invite. I'm nominating him." And then it was like a big deal, and I'm like, "Oh shit, this just happened." That's what I'm saying. Like to
wow.
me, I'm like, "Yo, this is the internet. We're sitting here doing this on a fucking Zoom call. We're both at home. If we were in
Mhm.
person, you'd be going, I gotta get home soon, this, that, the next thing. It changes the stress of time, I think. And so I don't know. I'm not convinced that real life is gonna be the same.
And yo, I think you should do it, man. Like basics, like he opened up for me like for my first two albums, like One in a Billion, Come Out of High Water, like,
The
and
basics is
I was
fire.
seeing amazing performers, great off the top of the head and everything. So like, it wasn't hard for me to like picture him going on like this, you know, like that's his thing, like performing and shit like that. Like I never seen like a real performer like that. He's so interactive with the crowd and everything, you know. Like he would open up for me and I'd be like, holy fuck, how did I come after him after this shit? Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I mean, that happens sometimes, but I think that you probably have a sick show still. You seem like you have the right kind of energy for that, and you probably do you practice before you perform.
Sometimes I used to, yeah, like in groups, like we would rehearse and like figure out where he's gonna fill in, like you know, the breaths and shit. If I need to take a breath and shit like that, you know. So yeah, yeah. But you know what? I could rehearse more. I'm not gonna lie. Like you know what I mean? I was more passionate as a kid. Like the same thing with you. I always like practice the lyrics in my head and shit like that. You know what I mean? But like as we go on, it's like I don't know. It gets
Nah,
easier and
nah,
shit.
I'm fucking lazy, dude. I don't know any of my songs right now. Yo, I had to do
Yeah.
like a 15-minute set at one point this year on a Zoom call, and I was tripping. It took hours to like get ready, and these are like songs I know, like so
Your
like
own lyrics, right? I know what you mean.
yeah,
It's like
cause like I
some of my
mean
shit, like yo, like I can't even remember my own bars and shit sometimes. Yeah.
it's like, oh fuck, like, and you think muscle memory is gonna save you, but then it's like I'm not young anymore, so it's not quite as quick and easy to do this. Plus, I know more shit, so it's like there's just more. And here's the thing, the more songs you write, the more memory, more flows, more things to remember. And then,
Yeah.
yo, I literally blanked performing a track the other day. I fucking dropped the whole second verse. I was not prepared. And then I had to humble myself out and go, nah, I actually am going to have to take like a month or two. And it's going to take me that long and
A whole month.
memorize. No, but I want to memorize like 8 or 9 of my shit and create like a versatile performance set I can cycle through.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to hold down an hour of my own music. Like, I should be able to. Sorry?
How much albums did you drop?
3. I
Yeah,
have.
you can do that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that
can,
works.
but it's like also it was the memory part. It's not actually like can I perform at all. It's
Yeah.
the longest set I ever did was like 40 minutes or whatever. I did a virtual album release party in 2017. So like I did it over Facebook Live and I did the whole project. So it was 30 something or 20 some 28 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. That was one of the longest ones I ever did. But yeah, no, I've never done an hour long set. So I realized the biggest thing holding me back now is memorizing that much music.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Honestly, like you gotta listen to your own tracks over and over like that. You know what I mean? Like
I don't
it
want
sounds
to.
ridiculous. It's all the lyrics and shit, but it's like yeah, it's like if you have so many bars and shit like that, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a time thing, you know. It's like oh, I want to go write the new album, but nah, it's what it is. Inevitably, I'll do it, get it done, practice it out
Yeah.
because it's important. Um, but yeah, how do you rely exclusively on Sky for beats, or do you work with other people?
Um, Mostly like Sky, but sometimes I get some from like Tokyo, maybe Cali, Vince, and yeah, there's a few here and there, you know, but like mostly Sky because he, I only trust him really, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, like he'll have a skeleton and I'll be like, yeah, I like it, you know, add your magic touch to it. Then he'll go off. I don't know what the fuck he does. He adds like crazy layers and shit. He knows exactly how to format it. I don't have to tell him, you know.
Mm.
And the next thing you know, it's like amazing. Like I can't believe it. Like it's like the beat is so amazing. Like I could spit whatever I want, but I'll spit good shit. But I'm just saying, it's like the beat is so amazing that it's like half the work's already done for me. You know what I mean? Like I need to like them to be captivated with a beat like right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like I don't want a beat to like grow on you and then you have to like learn to love it. Like I need you to love it right away, captures you, and then you can hear the bars with it because you like the beat too, kind of thing. You know?
Mm. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So yeah, what else do you feel you need to say to the people?
Um, what the? I just want them to check out the album. You know what I mean? Uh,
I'm gonna go
yeah, it's
ahead.
like best work to date. Um, Check out the video. You know what I mean? It's from the heart. You know what I mean? Like everything is 100% true. You know what I mean? Like I just talk about the birth of my son in the car on the way to the hospital. You know what I mean? And that's like a unique story, and I had to, you know what I mean, capture that. And usually I just like record my albums in bursts and shit like that. I got these like creative spurts and shit like that. You know, so I'm getting good reception from this album, so I'm probably gonna hit up Sky Beats, and, you know, come and hit me up with a batch, and yeah, it just happens like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's dope, man. I look forward to hearing what you come up with next. I look forward to having you back in the future. Should you want to come on again, and we can discuss more shit, more random whatever's. I don't care. I haven't figured out fully what episode 2 looks like with people yet, but we're gonna figure it out. Cause yeah, I want to just make sure that this is a place people can come back and share. And then if you remember more stories, you might come up with more shit. You can think about it, put it in the bank, and bang out some more stuff. Shout out Lindell for sticking with us. He definitely said he's gonna check out the album. He's gonna look for the video. He's gonna leave a comment on it. So that's fucking dope. And I'm pretty sure. And I know Ismail heard it with us a bit before. He'll probably check it out too. Big respect
Yeah,
I just
much
want to.
respect.
Yeah, sorry, I keep cutting you off. It's also like there's a bit
No,
of
no,
a.
I just want to say much respect. You know, like I appreciate people for taking the time to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to watch a video. You know what I mean? But nobody really like sits down and like digest the album like that. You know what I mean?
These
And,
two absolutely do. I can't say for anyone else, but I tell people I know at least 2 people that will check out your shit if I talk to you, and they're right there, both of them in the comments. So that's about as far as I think my reach goes for like there are 2 people that will check out your shit, but they're like pretty straight up about it, and they're sincere about it, and they're vastly different in their opinions and tastes, and that makes it amazing too. And I really love it. I really like it a lot. But yeah, definitely. Thank you for being here though, right? Like honestly, like this is still in the infancy, right? Like I can't even promise a million people look at it and all that, but y'all just come through like this and share your stories and like that, and it's fucking dope. You're a really interesting guy with a lot of interesting shit that happened to you. It's just incredible to hear it. You've done so much, and it's like, yo, more people do need to know who you are, Yo, you even got somebody from Norway who just says, shout out Golden Jenny. She's going to check it out and share it in Norway. That's like straight
wow,
up.
thanks so much. Goes to Norway. I didn't even know it extends that far. But yeah, I appreciate you for having me. It was a great experience. I never did no shit like this. You know what I mean? I was like, I never
And then,
had Zoom or nothing like that. I was like, how do I do an interview like this? But yeah, this is great.
and yo, Lindell wants us to remember. He made a comment earlier. He recommends Joe Rogan's Finding a Dinosaur episode with David Cho. It's one that awesome.
It's so amazing. That blew my mind. I already been on it. You know what? I might even watch it again.
And I have to watch it because he was going to say both of us will never forget it. And then there's a hitchhiking episode you may find interesting as well. Oh, we got another question from Ismail. Listen, if y'all watching have questions, I'm super happy to move them along. Don't even get me wrong. But how did you choose your name?
Yeah, I had this name since high school. I have this Buddha statue that I had just with my mom's house. It has like all these children on it. I just thought of it one day, and then I flipped it because I smoke a lot of weed. I'm not gonna lie, and Budda Child. But later on in life, I came out with my alias like Sunny Chiba, which is like the inverse of Budda Child. Sunny and Child, and Chiba and Buddha. So I just kept it like that.
That's cool, man. And do you read?
I could read more, but yeah, I do read. Like I mostly like self-help books and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like 48 Laws of Power. And I like audio biography.
That shit is a banger. Look, as far as books go, I would say 48 Laws of Power is a fucking must read. It is like
like that. Even mastery, like telling you to find your life path. And this might be your life path. You know what I mean? Like you say, you started off rapping or whatever, but you're getting more exposed to doing this. Then
this is just about reach, dog. I'm still gonna rap. Fuck that shit. I got the dream. This is just the means to an ends, right? Like this is about building a network, man. I don't care if I'm a 45-year-old rapper. I'm okay with that. I'll be an old
Oh,
man. I feel like in my 40s, I'm going to pop off proper. I'm going to get into like some dumb shit, like start dressing in darker suits, walk out with girls on chains, and, you know, fuck around with some real shit. Yo, wild side stuff. But to get there, you have to like create a level of influence, mystery, intrigue, and power, right? Like you have to do a lot of things to build up to that level. So listen, this whole interview thing is a great way to like get education, but also to meet everybody in the city. Like, let's be real, I get to meet all these people. So now as I want to start doing things, my network of people who I get to talk to in a real way has grown significantly. Like I could never have gotten this FaceTime outside of it. So in the future, when I'm like heavy in album mode and shit, I'm gonna be like, yo, Budda Child, you in the hood? You want to come on through? I got the mic. Let's go fucking do some. So this isn't like, yo, shout out Lindell. 40 isn't that old no more. So like to me, this is just a means to an end, right? Like, yo, am I okay with, yo, listen, I'm getting to sit here, smoke joints, and talk to people. This is what we would just do off camera. I think to be a rapper, we all need a grind like this past a certain age. It doesn't change it. Like, yo, I can still pause this and go on tour one day. Be like, yo, everybody, going on tour. I'll be back in a month. And then go do that. Like, why can't I? You know, this is just a means to an end. Now, I just happen to love doing this. And at the end of the day, getting this done right is really important. So if it takes me 3-6 months to fully get this organized, cool. But then I have all the time in the world to go rap again. That's kind of what it is. It's like you kind of unlock all the ways to get the time back to go chase what you really want to do. But then you have more shit going for you, you know? Like this entity has created more opportunities for my rap career. Even performing at Under Pressure was directly a result of interviewing Preach and Cobia.
oh wow.
So that's
I
how
think that interview, I really gotta watch that interview. That's like my mentor, like for real, for real.
it is. Like 2 hours. I was trash. Preach gave me like a 30-minute lecture after telling me how to do this better. So in a lot of ways, if I'm being real, my ability to do this a little smarter, like, you know why I'm quoting your lyrics at you and shit? Preach is like, you're an album reviewer. Fucking listen to their shit. Quote the lyrics at them. Watch what happens. I'm like, ooh, that's some... Okay, Preach. Told me I was fucking trash in the most polite way possible. And I got better. But it's like a 2-hour lecture of Montreal hip-hop history of 1996 to 1999. We got through 3 years in 2 hours.
Wow.
It was a lot of Preach. It was. I was just like, I'd never encountered Preach.
You told me you were trash, like straight up, and where you can improve. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Well,
you need somebody
he was more polite. I'm not gonna lie. He didn't use that language. That's what I remember. So that's how I remember it in my head. He was like, "You're not the best at this right now. Get your game up."
Yeah, you're learning on the spot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, all of this. It was accident. Like, I just started. I didn't really know how. I'm not like, how do you learn how to interview? I guess you could read books and take courses, or you just fucking go do it for a while. That's how everyone else did it. Joe Rogan popped after episode 1000. It's not like he just started.
1,000?
Dude, he's on like episode 1500 or some shit. Like, that shit's been around forever.
Unbelievable. Like, how do you know that much people to interview? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Yo, dude, I could probably run 3 episodes a week for the next 5 years in Montreal, do half Montreal, half outside of Montreal, and never miss a week. There's just that many people to interview. You just need to know that not every episode's gonna slap, but your bigger mission is about consistency. So right now, my next mission is to be, because I just did something that was bad for the immediate future for me. I went live so many fucking times recently that everybody's gonna be burnt out for a quick minute. Too much Holden.
Like too much? You're overexposed. Yeah.
A little bit, but it was on purpose because I wanted to start the year off with a bang and make sure my back catalog of people that I did was like kind of heavy coming into the year. Now I cut it back to 3 a week. So instead of 6 last week, it'll be 3 this week. Maybe I'll go live and do something else, but it won't be an interview, right? But then people are going to get used to the idea that there's an interview Monday night, there's an interview Wednesday night, and there's an interview Saturday night. And people are just going to get used to that. Then I can do what I want and add it in different ways and get people, and then people can choose what they want. Cause I make time for end of the week. I make time for my dude Willie Scandals' fucking show on Friday nights. I make time for that shit. Like, that's what I do on Fridays now. We watch Willie. It's like, at first I was showing love, and now I just watch Willie's show on Fridays. It's just what we do. I don't know. I can't think of something else to do on my Friday nights. Like, what am I gonna do? Watch fucking Netflix? At least on Willie's show, I'm gonna hear some underground hip hop or whatever. It's fucking dope, you know.
Yeah,
So
shout
like,
out to him. I sent him a track, you know. I hope he played that shit. I didn't even keep it, but yeah, I didn't know it was on Fridays. I'm gonna.
yo, he's on Twitch too now. Yo, shout out Willie
Okay.
Scandals. He's a fucking banger. I like working with him. So he's on Twitch now. He's doing his thing. And a lot of people are. So like, that's kind of like where I think the next wave is going. Is a bunch of motherfuckers up on Twitch, kind of doing their thing. Also the DJ sect, yo, all these DJs, man. These DJs is all over Twitch, dude. So Preach comes in, and there's like a network. There's like hundreds of DJs there. And because of the nature of being a DJ, I guess, you can just find the right squad or the right, like, I don't know, like agency or union. And so they just got like calendars and networks, and it's like an ongoing party that DJs hand off, because there's this feature on Twitch called rating, where like even at the end of this, there's like 5 people here still. So we're going to raid the next channel and show some love like that and bring people into the next man's channel so that they can actually get the benefit of the audience and shit. So there's this whole like ecosystems that come. So let's say you start coming through and you do a podcast or whatever. Next man's comes through and everybody starts doing it. Like, the more people that are here, the more we start taking people and bringing them here. All of our friends. And now your friend is going to be here, and like, yo, this Golden Jenny lady, the Norway one, she's from like the Willie audience. And then Willie somehow brought her to me, and now like she's going to bump your shit in Norway.
Thank you so much, by the way.
And that's like
amazing.
fucking crazy, right? Like, when I look at, so that's how I see all of this playing out more. And then, yo, we can still do live shows. Yo, what's the difference? You know, you just set up a camera in the room where you do the live show and stream it to Twitch. Like, it doesn't change shit. You know, it's just a couple extra pieces of gear to like bring it back to the real life world after you're done, you know?
Exactly. In the comfort of your own home type shit. Yeah.
Anyway, again, I appreciate you being here. I don't know if anyone else watching has more questions. I think we learned a lot from you. I think this was a blessed episode. I think if we break past that 2-hour point, it's a fucking blessed episode. So that's dope. We're past that 2-hour point.
Yeah, I've been looking at the time the whole fucking time. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. It's fun. I mean, sometimes you lose steam along the way. Sometimes they kind of like, you know, pick back up again, but that's just kind of how it is, man. Nobody's perfect. It's live. It's a weird thing. Yo, nobody even took a pee break. That's pretty incredible. Shout out to us for for that. Anyway, so I appreciate you again being here. And in the future, when you're done your next project, whatever, we can set up the next one, have more conversations about life, grow, etc., etc. Shout out on you having a kid. That's huge. And I look forward to hearing how you manage that with your music. Has that been hard, actually, managing that with your music?
I thought it would, you know, but I just felt like Wednesday I go to the studio and that's it, you know. I bang it out. It's that simple, you know. Like, that's the day I have to do it, and it just gets done, you know. So I thought it would, but not really, you know.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, I give you the right when people, you know.
Yeah, maybe I guess it has to do with what point in life. Like, if I have a kid now, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm at the right age. It's not like the hard part of life. So yeah, I feel that. I feel that a lot. Anyway, though, I appreciate you for you, but thank all y'all watching too. I appreciate everyone of y'all watching.
Yeah, and thank you, man. I really appreciate it, man. And for sure, I'll see you for the next one.
Honestly, man, it's my pleasure. Like, again, like a lot of people, like for me, it's like I get to learn a bunch of shit. I get to get my brain tickled and a bunch of stuff. So it's a huge benefit for me, and I hope for the people watching as well, they get that same benefit. But yo, thank y'all for watching though, because again, without y'all, it's not necessarily a show. It's more of like, no, we would still do it, but it would be a couple of guys fucking talking to each other on a camera, which is, I guess, what most people are doing offline. So we're just doing it online. But yo, if you are watching this in the future on YouTube's or whatever, feel free to hit that subscribe button, like button, all that shit. Definitely leave a comment. Let us know what you want to know. Let us know what you think, all that good stuff. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prada, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. They're dope. They support what we do. Are you still? Yeah, you're still with us. Yes. They support what we do. If you want to support what we do and you're on Twitch, you can hit that subscribe button. Everyone else, feel free to head on over to patreon.com/behindthatsuit. And I suppose I have to make new fucking Patreon tiers to reflect interview life, but that shit's coming soon. It still is love. Otherwise, yo, thank y'all again for being here. I can't even stress how amazing it is, how incredible it is to know that this is a real thing that's going on inside of the city. Honestly, like, there's so many talented people here. Y'all need to check out Budda Child shit. If you want, maybe while we're out here before we go, I might have to cover up your face. But I can go ahead and set it up where we play your music video one time real quick before we dip, if that's something you're okay with.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's
Let me just go find that real quick. Don't worry, I'll find it fast. It's not that hard. Which track is it actually?
It's the first one, Dramatic Entrance.
It's called Dramatic Entrance. Oh, that's what's up, man. That's a really cool video. It's really well made, really professionally shot. I love the colorful drone footage. That's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for playing it, man. And shout out to Illy Dre. I was saying he's on the chorus, you know? He killed that shit.
Absolutely did. It's very catchy. On that note, everyone, thank y'all for being with us one more time. I'm going to initiate the raid right now. I'm going to cruise on through. So that means in 10 seconds, I push a button. Hopefully everyone chooses to come on through and show some love to Audiophile. He's fucking Audiophile, whatever. He's dope. We're going to show love like that. Let's hit it. We going.